we kick off this evening properly, as I said before, this is going to be a session 0, so we're not going to be necessarily gaming so much tonight as getting to know each other, as we've already been a bit, and also talking through character creation, because although we have some concepts and ideas for who everyone is, I don't think everyone's actually completed necessarily their character sheets.
Oh shit!
So we need to do that. And we also need to look at the relationships between people and kind of talk through those a bit. What is it, Madman?
I have no idea how combat or skill checks work at all.
Okay, no problem.
Same here.
I will run through that to begin with because it's very simple. Everything in Cypher has a difficulty. Okay? In normal games, this ranges from 1, very easy, to 10, impossible.
Okay.
In a superhero game, because you are superhuman, the difficulty can actually go as high as 15. Okay? So anything that is an 11 or higher is beyond impossible for a normal human.
So lifting a
Because-
car.
No.
Lifting a car actually would be a 10 for a human.
Oh.
So
It's something that, in theory, a person could do.
Throwing a car.
Throwing a car
Okay.
might be a 12.
Mm.
so,
A person could, in theory, lift a car. You've seen strongman competitions.
I mean,
Does this include very small electric cars?
Well, that's the other part that feeds into
Casey,
that
didn't
is what.
they go beyond that, where it's like you can absorb the energy of the sun and like crazy stuff like that can be DC 15 and 20, etc.
Oh yeah,
all these.
I mean,
things.
in theory, things could go above 15, but even in normal superhero games, they say 15 is usually your limit.
Hey Kim, guess what my foci is? Absorb energy.
Yeah.
It is. So the way that it works is anything that you are trying to do, whether it is attack an enemy, defend from an attack by an enemy, or pick up a car, or talk your way out of a situation, it will have a difficulty number between 1 and 15.
So you would say like, dude A tries to shoot you. It's a 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a difficulty 3.
What's like if we are talking like normal human like levels, average dude shooting you with a handgun.
Your average minion guard
Yeah.
is going to be about a difficulty 2.
So, for shooting you.
Well, that's the thing. The guard will be a difficulty 2. That means that if he shoots you, you defend it difficulty 2. If you try to shoot him, it's difficulty 2.
Oh.
Everything he does will be difficulty 2.
So it's both like a CR and DC.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ah.
Exactly.
And
that.
then what happens is, when you have the difficulty set, say it's a difficulty 5, you then look at your character sheet and you say, do you have any skills that apply? I'm trying to pick up a car. Well, I have a skill in powerlifting. That's going to reduce it from a difficulty 5 down to a difficulty 4. Or you might have a specialty in powerlifting, which is going to reduce it down to a difficulty 3. Once you've done that, you then can check if you have any assets. Assets are things that you have. So
Hang on, sorry. I'm a little bit. Yes.
Here, man. If you have a look at the OneNote, there's a page on there, and I've just put it in the chat as well.
No. I'm still at difficulty is equal to DC and CR, and then
Don't write that down yet.
Oh.
Just for now, listen to me talk through it.
Okay.
And then write it down at the end because it might make more sense. Because that's not what you're rolling.
Okay.
Difficulty is 5 to lift a car. We're just throwing that number out there. You have a skill in powerlifting. It goes down to 4. You have a powerlifting belt, let's say. That asset reduces it down to 3. You then have the ability to spend out of your pools. So I'm going to spend extra effort to reduce it by another level down to 2. You can then, if you have any power shifts, say you have a power shift in super strength, that could reduce it again down to a 1. Whatever the final difficulty is, once you've applied your skills, your assets, your effort, and your power shifts, you take that final difficulty, you multiply it by 3, and you need to roll that or higher on a d20.
Okay.
Because every difficulty has a target number, wasn't it? It's 3
The target number is always 3 times the difficulty.
Yeah.
Pool points. And pool points is effort.
So-
And then minus power shift. And power shift, that's the, like, you are superhuman, so you get an automatic -1 in all difficulties, for example.
Well, what happens is you will select 5 power shifts in your superpowers.
Okay.
So you could have a super strength of 3 and a super endurance of 2, for example. If you have a super strength of 3, that means you're going to reduce all strength checks by 3.
And these are tied to your the powers, you said?
Well, your foci determines what your powers generate.
Yeah.
Your power shifts are what affect your difficulties.
And I'm
So,
assuming you
works-
gotta be able to explain your power shift with your power.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can't have fire shooting fire and be able to tell, or I don't know, super strength,
Well, I mean,
super durability.
you possibly could.
Yeah.
You know, you have shooting fire and super strength. Okay, that's Superman with his heat beams and
true.
strength.
That's true.
You just have to explain it in your build.
So I think there's a bit of confusion in there though, because it's the words you use there that causes a bit of confusion, man. So
Okay.
whereas your foci is, for example, I'm just gonna take my own. Let's say I'm telepathic, and I can also, on top of that, I can cast fireballs, use magic, for example.
Okay.
That's like your class. But power shifts, which you talked about, are a completely different setting. It's what enables your character to be a superhuman being. So whereas, for example, me, I am exceptionally good at. I'm just going to take an example. I am exceptionally good at using my psychic powers. So the difficulty of using my psychic powers is reduced by 1 if I have 1 power shift, 2 if I have 2 power shift. So whereas the difficulty would normally be 3, he tends to be in almost normal common situations. If, for example, if I'm reading people's minds and it's a light reading, typically a 3 difficulty, but if I have 3 in power shift, that would automatically happen.
Okay.
Mhm.
So I could hang on. If I were to write down this, would that make sense? So the default difficulty is 10. Hang on. Default difficulty. Yeah.
Here.
So,
There's one that I did earlier.
yeah. But could you write on mine? Could you look at mine and see if I understood it
Super
correctly?
punching difficulty is 10, minus a skill of 2, so that means you're an expert at it. Minus an asset of 2, means you have 2 things helping you do it.
Yeah.
You spend effort to reduce it
Yeah.
by 1 more. You've got a super strength in 4. A super strength of 1 that reduces it down to 4. The bit that you then missed is you take that difficulty of 4 times 3.
Oh, okay.
And that's the number you have to roll on a d20.
Against. So it's a DC 12.
Okay, then.
So a 4 times 3 is 12. So you need to roll a 12 or better on a d20 to succeed.
Yeah. And
Okay.
we don't have any like bonuses on top of that d20 roll.
No.
Except for very special circumstances.
Well, the whole thing of it is, you, rather than having bonuses on the roll, you're reducing the roll before you make it.
Yep. Because I saw that there was, in some cases, you would be allowed to have like a +2 or maybe a +1 bonus on top
The
of the
only
roll.
time that occurs is player versus player.
Oh, okay.
No, wasn't there one thing more case? You could have artifacts that did this.
Artifacts are a special case, yeah.
Yeah, I think there was a couple of artifacts that could give you. So there was one example that was used where you had like a flamethrower. So when you
Yeah, so artifacts are very rare magic items that can be a special case, yeah.
Okay. In that case,
Okay.
I'll just update. I don't know. I like it to be a formula.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
So in
that's what
order-
I've tried to do in that chart that I put into the OneNote. Is I've said you start here, you apply this, you apply this, you apply this, and that's your final.
So
There we go. So I updated.
Yep. And Madman, that applies to anything in the game.
Cool.
so,
In that case, I got it.
but there's
And
a couple of
and an asset is assist in any way.
Yeah, so an asset could be someone helping you. It could be an item that makes the job easier. It could be circumstances that work in your favor.
What
It's anything that is conditional.
because all of these other they are kind of primarily statted, I guess, on your character sheet. But the asset that seems circumstantial. What
It very much
determines
is, yes.
if you're going swimming and you have scuba gear, that's an asset.
Yeah, but what determines the point you get for the asset for with the scuba gear?
One per asset. One
Yes.
difficulty reduction.
Only
per
one. So if
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
so it doesn't
So
matter
if you
if
have a
it's
set of scuba gear, you could have one. If you have scuba gear and a scuba instructor, that's two.
Okay.
Okay.
So it doesn't matter the severity of the asset itself.
In extreme cases, you might be able to negotiate to say, well, I've got really, really high-tech scuba gear that does this and that and the other, and it might get, and you might decide, okay, well, no, that is worth two.
Okay.
My scuba gear
It's-
has a
it's
navigation panel.
circumstantial.
Okay,
You know,
okay.
I went out and bought scuba gear with AI in it.
Okay, and
Well, you
and
could almost
it's
still argue that's two things. That's scuba gear with AI.
okay.
You see what I mean?
Yeah,
And-
okay.
how do the stats like play into this? Because you have might, speed,
that
and
took me a
intellect.
second to understand as well.
Yeah, I understand we have a pool of stats, and obviously the stat that you are strong
So,
in might speed
let me-
intellect.
Let me roll something in game, and it will make a lot more sense very quickly when I do. So if
Okay.
I roll this, for example, which is one of my abilities, you will see that I wrote 2 in points. So the activating this skill will take 2 out of my current intellectual pool.
All right.
Okay.
So here's the thing to remember with your pools.
Mhm.
Your pools are two things. One, they are what you spend in order to cast abilities. So in that case that Kim has had there, that is an ability that cost him 2 out of his intellect pool to use it.
Minus edge.
Yes.
And the reason I'm saying this is because when they're going through now, it's good to know what edge does immediately.
Yeah, because Edge basically would let you do things for free, right?
It can do if something has a cost of 1.
Yeah. No, yeah, but if you could have Edge too, right?
Yeah.
Yes, you could. At tier 2, you could have edge 2. In which case, it reduces
So,
the cost by 2.
Okay. So edge also, it lowers the difficulty, right?
No.
It
It
does not lower
reduces
the
the
difficulty;
cost.
it reduces the cost.
So
Oh,
if
okay.
you were to have Edge 1, you could for free spend 1 asset point, well, pool point, without
No, it
actually.
goes into effort.
Yeah.
It goes
Yeah,
into
exactly.
spending
Yeah,
effort.
exactly. In effort, without actually spending it, you don't lose it. It's for free. So
Okay.
it actually lowers the difficulty by just being
Well-
added to it for free.
No.
Well, no, because spending effort costs you 3 points from
No
your
matter what.
pool. So an
Okay,
edge of 1.
never
should
mind
only
what I
cost
say in
2
that case.
instead.
Okay.
So,
So just to get so effort is that is something you can use like once per day or something, or
No,
how
you
does
can
that-
you can use effort as often as you want.
Okay, so when I have
But-
like 1 effort,
but-
what exactly does that mean in terms of the stats?
Okay, the way that effort works is when you make a roll, You spend 3 out of your stat pool to reduce the difficulty by 1.
Yeah.
And then, if you have an effort higher than 1, meaning that you're a tier 2 or above character, you could then say, I'm going to spend an extra 2 out of my pool and reduce it by 2 instead of 1.
Okay.
Your effort score is the maximum amount you can spend. The thing is, if normally spending effort would cost you 3, and you have an edge of 1, it's only going to cost you 2. By the same token, if you had an effort of 2, it would cost you 5. It would only cost you 4 if you have edge. Or if you had edge 2, it would only cost you 3, etc.
Can I apply an example to this? Because it looks like people are a bit confused trying to keep up.
Mhm.
So, let's say that I want to shoot my gun. And the difficulty typically, I'm saying this typically because any difficulty is typically a 3, which 3 times 3 is 9. So you have to roll 9 or higher. I'm saying typically, it can be 4 and 5 depending on the task.
Yeah.
So, if I am trained with a pistol, in using a pistol, I would reduce that difficulty to 2. If I was to apply 1 level of effort, I reduce that difficulty to 1. And then if I have, let's say, 1 in asset, that difficulty becomes a 0. Yeah, but and I spent then 3 in whatever point, probably speed for shooting a gun. I spent 3 out of my speed pool in order to shoot that gun to apply effort. However, if I was to apply a gun skill to this, so let's say that I would bend bullets, just to take an example, that says that that costs 2 points out of my speed pool. If I have an edge of 1, that means that it costs 1. So now I've effectively spent 4. 1 on to get it to bend bullets, because I reduced it from a 2, and 3 for my effort.
Yeah, for the simplest version of it, whenever you spend points out of a pool, you spend a number of points minus your edge in that pool.
Cool. All right.
Does that make
Okay.
it easier?
Okay. Quick pause. Yes.
Mhm.
So I can process this.
And this is all covering the first use of your pools.
Sure. I'm still with you. It's what I wrote. Pool are 2 things. It's what you spend to do abilities minus edge, which is effort. And then I updated the
No, that's not
had.
effort. Effort is a completely standalone thing to reduce difficulty.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about.
You can spend from your pool, which is effort.
Yeah.
And you reduce that by your edge.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
And,
yeah. I'm still there. Like I'm at the
Yeah.
difficulties thing.
Okay.
Still.
Yeah. Cool.
I think we're saying the same thing in different ways. At this
Exactly.
point.
Yeah.
Cool.
So
Your
about,
way is wrong. I am right.
so about the pool then, is it like, should you try to conserve it as much as you can? Does
Yes.
that?
Well,
okay.
Here's
So
the
why
other, here's
do
the
you
other
have to?
twist.
All right. Yep.
Because in addition to you spending your pools in order to create effects,
Yeah.
when someone attacks you, your pools are also your hit points.
And they can attack
right.
you in many ways.
So if someone punches you, you might lose damage from your might pool. They might hit you for 2 points of might damage. Or they might mind blast you for 4 points of psychic damage, which is going to subtract from your intellect pool.
Right. And
so they are both your offensive capability and your hit points.
And
So you have to balance the two.
All right. So what happens if for example, if I'm all out of might pool and take a
Okay.
might damage?
It then spills over into the speed pool.
Okay.
And if you're out of speed, it spills over into intellect.
But there is negative effects when you hit zeros.
Yes. If you look at the middle of the character sheet, the damage track, hail, impaired, debilitated, dead.
Yeah.
Hail means you have something in all 3 pools.
Okay.
When one pool drops to 0, you become impaired. You get minuses. You're not as competent.
Well,
The second pool,
No, sorry.
it's just underneath the Cypher System logo on your character sheet.
Casey, if you become
I have the
impaired,
strange.
You have what?
The strange.
Oh, you have the strange
Ah.
rule book.
Yeah, you can change it by
yeah, where do you do that?
yeah. There's a small
Cog, like
yeah,
right
cogwheel, yeah, in just below the
Okay.
logo.
Oh yeah, okay, there we go. Cypher System. Okay,
There you go. Yeah,
Thank
don't
you.
look at the strange character sheet. That's
strange.
Do you explain it somehow, Casey? If let's say I take my might damage completely,
Yep.
do you explain it to me that, oh yeah, your arm is gone, or
yeah. Something will occur to say why you have become impaired because that pool is now empty. So basically, you move from hail to impaired whenever one pool gets to 0. If a second pool hits 0, you become debilitated. You get even more minuses, even more problems, etc. If your third pool hits 0, you move to dead. There's
that good
no
or
roll
bad?
to save. No roll to save. It's dead. This game system actually has a statement in the book that says dead is dead.
Yeah, like a lich. So you come back to life and then
No.
taunt the rest of the players. I understand what you're saying, Casey.
Yeah.
I got it. I got it.
but there's so many overpowered effects that can prevent you from taking that level of damage.
Yeah, and
Because if
one
you-
thing that I will point out as well is we've discussed it in the chat, and as superheroes, I have made the question of when you bring an opponent down to 0, do you kill them or do you knock them out? And as a whole, the group has decided the default situation is we knock them out. That
Can
can
we do
also
like the middle
apply-
thing? Put them in a coma, make them vegetables.
Jesus
They are either
Christ.
unconscious or dead. But the thing to remember with that is like in any good superhero genre, if that's the case whenever you're doing things, that can also be the case when the enemy does things. So the enemy might reduce you to 0, and you might wake up having been knocked unconscious, and now you're their prisoner, or something of that nature could happen. So in a superhero game, dead does not necessarily mean as dead as it does in other versions of Cypher.
Fair.
Right.
Cool.
Still
you
not
may
a good thing.
Take the dirt nap.
Yeah, you may not. Yeah, you may find that you've been awakened by your arch nemesis, and now you're a cyborg working for them.
The
You know.
dirt nap is a very badass way of saying it.
You know, I mean, and then you look at characters like Phoenix, who like dying is like taking a nap.
Yeah,
You know,
But
how many times has Jean Grey died?
quite a few.
4,
Yeah.
5.
is there anybody still struggling to understand how the system works, though?
I mean, I think I'm getting the only thing that I'm still a bit iffy about is how you spend pool, but I think that's gonna be more clear as we play.
Yeah.
Everything
Yes.
else is clear to me.
And,
What about you,
and we
Calvin?
will walk you through the first few rolls.
Calvin
Yeah,
or
everything-
Calvin?
Calvin.
Calvin.
Yeah, somehow everything's clicking. Conveniently enough, the Monty Cook Games actually have like a YouTube video up on like how to play the Cypher System. I just kind of watched that video. It's like a 20-minute video.
I linked it in the chat a couple of times, but I know
Oh,
that
yeah.
most of these guys will not have paid any attention to that.
I don't pay attention
Yeah.
to what you
I've
say, Casey.
I've
Much of it
seen
is shit.
like most of the things that have been posted and stuff, but I haven't clicked links necessarily.
Yeah. And Kim's actually watched a few episodes of Custo 6 now, so
Phew, I'm on
that
episode
really
9,
helps as
actually.
well. Well, there you go. It helps.
I'm addicted.
Okay, so and just to clarify, because I also remember reading about like if you reached a certain point in one of your stats, like say you have a 21 in might, that also means that you succeed automatically at some checks, or am I completely wrong here? Because
I've not
Excessive
noticed that anymore.
no, reducing difficulty is what he's on about.
It's
So-
edge.
Yeah.
Right.
No, so Edge is reducing the cost.
Yeah, but
So-
if you reduce the cost to 0, it's basically succeeding automatically by
No.
just having a bunch of free minus difficulties.
Yeah,
No.
I don't know about if your pool reaches a certain number, but if your reductions reach a certain number. So, for example, if you are trying to fire a gun, and the difficulty is 5, and you have total reductions whenever you add it up of 7, between your skills and your power shifts and whatever else, if you can reduce the number to 0 or less without having to make a roll, then you auto succeed.
So I
Okay.
linked to one of my skills. So
Yeah.
I want to prove a point to Madman, or show him a bit. So you see,
Yeah.
it would normally cost me 1 int point, but I want to edge it in, so it costs me
Yeah.
none. So I can use this as many times as I want to. It's literally a free ability. It's a cantrip.
Yeah.
But the difficulty to succeed is still going to be 3.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is that if you have enough edge and have enough different kinds of difficulty removals, it becomes
Then
free.
yeah.
That's
Mhm.
what I was saying. Like,
so this-
basically, with enough edge, you could do stuff for free and auto succeed.
Exactly.
Well, your
so,
edge is always going to max out at a maximum of 6.
Yeah.
Well, still, I mean, that's very high.
Mhm.
And with all the stuff stacked on top of that, it's like, don't roll beneath 3 in case he will roll a 2, and he will say, "Fuck it."
So I'm just gonna
But
see how
I-
this.
so
'Cause
I
when yeah, sorry.
no,
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, if the difficulty is normally 3 for fast talk, and I'm just gonna call it a charisma 3, that would probably reduce it to 0 in most situations. And it doesn't cost me any int point because I have edge of 1, so I can unlimitedly use this, and most of the time succeed.
Okay.
Am I right?
So-
Right in thinking like this?
Yeah,
I'm
you
just
will
gonna do
find
a
that
few
you will
rolls
find
in
that things
chat.
in your specialty, you may get to a point where often you don't even have to roll for it. I mean, if any of you do watch Callisto 6, you'll notice there's a character on there called Lacey.
Yeah, I know.
That is a technopath, basically,
She can literally, she can
and
do
she can drop
anything.
difficulty 10 things without rolling a die.
Wolf.
No,
It's-
she,
By the end of the campaign, it's like, oh yeah, the difficulty is 10. Do you even need to bother to roll? And she's like, well, do I get to apply my coding or not? He goes, well, yeah, it applies. She goes, no, I don't need to roll then. Or sorry, they go because she's non-gender. They're non-gender, but I will never get used to that.
Mm.
Many apologies, but I struggle.
So,
Also, just a quick question. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, because I'm looking at the skills still, because the skills that you have training in, they automatically reduce the difficulty by 1, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
trained reduces it by 1. Specialized reduces it by 2.
but
Okay.
skills is not easily obtained.
No, but how do you?
Depends
How
on your
would
build.
you? Yeah, okay. And how do you become
You-
specialized as you?
you use
get trained?
XP.
Okay.
So, but you use XP specifically for a skill. So martial art doesn't necessarily translate to powerlifting,
Okay.
So what
unless
I'd like to
you do a
do,
backflip and do like and kick and powerlift with your foot while you do the one stand crane.
but what I would like to do is just walk through the initial character creation bits and just make sure everyone's on the same page for those.
Got it.
Okay. So the first thing that we want to look at is your type.
Shit. No, I'm kidding.
This is going to be adept, explorer, speaker, warrior, etc. And basically, what you'll need to do is once you've decided that, which I think most of us have, is you would go to chapter 5 of the rule book, and it's going to give you your initial stat pools, your initial points to spend on top of those pools, your initial effort, your nature, and a few starting abilities that you'll need to document on your character sheet.
And it's can I? So it's worth noting as an optional rule that case at least allowed for me is that you can shift your points between might, speed, and intellect as a one-to-one basis. So if you are gonna specialize like myself in int, you can drop things from might. Even though your default position is 10, I dropped it to 8, and that's the lowest I was allowed to go according to the rule.
Yeah. So for example, Madman, what
Yeah.
type were you?
I'm a warrior.
You're a warrior, so you
Skillful
fill that in on your
warrior.
sheet.
I have not. And I will speak like this.
So if you fill that in,
Is it
That's gonna
type
be
or
annoying.
descriptor?
that's your type.
Warrior. Come out and play.
And then your initial stat pools start
Well,
out
sorry.
at might.
Which
Sorry.
page is this all on?
On the revised book, it's page 21.
What the fuck? Where's the revised book?
You're the one that linked the listing of all the books, didn't you?
I don't follow my own fucking.
You don't follow your
stuff,
advice.
alright?
Come on.
Yeah. Come on. I know how bad it is. You are suckers for doing it.
Yeah, you're probably right, to be honest.
Yeah.
In fairness, he has a point, Casey. I can't argue that one.
Why have we been? I don't even know.
There's a realization comes in. Wait, we've been listening to the actual Madman the whole time.
I mean,
And
the
then
name says it all, really.
Exactly. Then you said it out loud and like, oh, I know where things went wrong. Okay.
Yeah.
So I just want to go back a little bit to what we were speaking about skills. So if you check in the chat in Roll20, because I rolled the second, or the ones the most recent there. It says because I rolled an 18 on that roll, and it says +2 damage special. Is that because it's?
So it's an optional rule.
Basically, what happens is in combat. So it would not actually apply to this roll, but in combat, when you roll a 17, 18, or 19,
okay,
you get a minor effect or a damage to bonus. So you could either choose, for example, 2 extra damage or I knock them down.
Okay.
If you roll a 20, that's a major effect or +4 damage.
Yeah. Also, when I click to use the skill, these options come up on different things to add to it, and so I chose 3 cost this time. I'm not entirely sure what cost is yet.
So cost.
That's
is,
what you're spending out of your pool.
Yeah. So
Okay.
imagine it like a mana pool, and if you're using a spell or an ability, it costs you X amount of points. Now that point can be 1, 2, 3, 4, depending on the type of skill or what the description of the spell says or the skill says.
Mhm.
And that will be the cost, and you will then reduce that cost based on the edge.
Okay. And also there's a button.
So if you notice on there, you chose a cost of 3,
Mm-hmm.
and then it's added a -1 because you've got 1 edge, so it's applied that to it.
Okay. Yeah.
Where
Because it sums up to 5. I see.
Yeah, so it was a 3 initially because you selected 1 level of effort.
Mm-hmm.
You applied an additional cost of 3, which would have been like an ability that you have that costs 3, -1 for your edge equals a total cost of 5 out of your pool.
Yeah,
which is ridiculously high, by the way, just so you're aware.
Yeah.
Only at tier 1.
Yeah. So don't get me wrong. Later on, we will get ability points to add later on, so we will become more powerful. But at this point in time, our 5 cost is ridiculously high. It's like we're Padawans. We sense the magic, but we don't really know how it works yet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, we are starting out literally as you initially get your abilities. So
It doesn't seem like the apply cost button works though at the end, because when I click it, nothing happens.
I may not have enabled the API. I'm not sure. I'll have to check that before game 1.
Should we wait, considering now it's been an hour, should we wait 5 minutes and see if the others join before we continue with the character creation? So
well,
they don't.
we haven't
miss
seen
it.
anything from Javante yet.
Kiko is supposed to
And
arrive
Kiko
some-
has
Kiko.
experience having played before.
Yeah. And she also has watched the series for a long time.
Okay.
So
Well,
she's
in that
actually
case,
more familiar.
okay.
Yeah.
In that case, let's fucking do this. Okay.
Yep.
So for
Going
your
back
stat
to the
pool.
example there. Yeah. So you start out with a 10, 10, 8.
Okay, I'll just add that to the 8.
Yeah.
Oh shit! No, 10. 10, 8. Yes.
And then you get 6 additional points to add as you like among those pools. So are you going to be a strength-based character? Are you looking to be strong and tough? Are you looking to be fast and agile? Or are you looking to be smart?
Oh, definitely not. Okay, so
Well, if you're going for the strong and fast, that's your might pool.
okay,
Strong.
so 15, 11, 8.
That means you're pretty stout. Your starting current numbers are going to be the same as your pools, by the way.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool.
And just for the reference, what that is your pool number is your maximum. Your current is what you subtract from as you spend.
Okay.
Okay? So your pools remind you of what your maximum kind of fully healed max hit point level is.
I would go 16 in fucking my
16, 10, 8?
Yeah.
Okay. And then going down the warrior list, using Madman as the example,
Yes.
your effort is 1. That's already been filled in because you're a tier 1 character.
Where's that? Okay, there. Yeah.
Yep. Your
Found it.
physical nature, you either get a might edge or a speed edge of 1. You choose one or the other.
Might.
Might, I figured that would be the one.
Yeah.
Cypher use, which I'm trying to think where that is on the sheet. 2 ciphers. It's over on the right-hand side.
Yeah. Two limit there. It's already there.
Now, the way that ciphers work, ciphers are, for intents and purposes, single-use magic items.
Mm-hmm.
And Casey needs to give up a lot of them.
Yes, I will say.
No,
I will say this. Part of the objective of this game is that you do use ciphers.
Okay.
So anytime that you're stopped in a room, you can freely say, I want to search the room for anything that's useful.
Mm.
And I can make a roll to see if you find a cipher.
Okay. So
I
we
will
should
highlight
just...
the fact. I will highlight the fact that this game rewards XP and items based on discovery, not combat.
Okay.
Also, there's also a very, very important bit there. It's highly recommended that you actually do not only explore, but that you try to get loot, because the one-off use items will be extremely vital for any sort of survival in this game.
So we shouldn't just stack it and have a big bag of it and just go, all right, I'm just gonna hoard this for later.
No, and that's actually what that limit is. You can
Ah.
only carry 2 ciphers at a time.
Okay.
Some people might have a limit of 3, some might have a limit of 1, depending on the class. But you cannot... It's not only that you can't use more than that at a time, you can't actually be carrying more than that at a time.
Okay. So what happens then? Weapons.
Weapons. So you are practiced with light, medium, and heavy weapons, and suffer no penalties for using them.
Okay. What does that mean?
That basically means that you know how to use weapons. This basically is D&D's version of proficiency.
Okay.
I was gonna say, so it's like a D&D proficiency.
Yes. Yeah. You don't suffer any penalties because you understand how all of the weapon types work. I will break this down for you. There are 3 kinds of weapons in the game: light, medium, and heavy.
So I'm assuming light's like a pistol, heavy would be like, or medium would be like a rifle, and heavy would be like a barrel, like a rocket launcher.
Yep. Or it could also be heavy as a dagger, or sorry, light is a dagger, heavy is a sword, and heavy is a great sword.
Yeah.
It could be melee, it could be ranged, it could be whatever. There are literally 3 kinds of weapons.
Cool.
Very, very easy.
Cool.
Starting equipment: clothing and 2 weapons of your choice, plus 1 expensive item, 2 moderately priced items, and up to 4 inexpensive items. Those we can come back to because they're more flavor than anything else.
Okie doke.
Okay. Special abilities. You then choose 4 abilities from the list below. And it does list the page numbers that each of those is listed on.
Okay.
Bash is obviously like a physical attack. Combat prowess is going to give you a little bit of extra ability in fighting. Control the field, as it sounds, is more of a battlefield control. Improved edge, I believe, adds 1 to your edge, so it's going to make things cost less.
That's useful.
No need for weapons is basically unarmed fighting.
Nice.
Physical skills, I will highlight, because that's where you could actually pick up martial arts or firearms or something that is going to reduce the cost of some of your rolls.
Okay. I have 3 already. Improved edge.
Yep.
No need for weapon because I want to punch people.
Yep.
And physical skills because martial arts.
Yeah, those work. Practice in armor obviously lets you wear armor.
I kind of want to just be able to...
Or
Hi, by the way.
train without armor. Hello!
Hey.
Hi.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
What's up?
Hello. Right
Hi.
now I am unpresentable, so you'll not be seeing my face.
All of us are unpresentable, and you're still seeing our faces. I don't think I've been presentable for years.
Yeah.
Casey,
This is why Casey's camera is pixelated, because we don't want to see shit. It's like
Nah.
the internet is censoring it.
It's just I break every camera I look at.
Okay. Currently we're just going through the character creation stuff with me because Casey realized I'm the idiot and need most help.
Is it Kiko? Is that the pronunciation? Sorry.
It is.
Okay, lovely. I do know that you're a little bit more familiar than some of these other guys with the game. What we've been doing is walking through character creation to kind of get everyone familiarized and get everyone's character sheets completed. So we've gone over some kind of examples of how to roll and things like that. And now I'm walking through character creation using Madman as an example so that everyone can kind of follow along and see where we are. So Madman, where we were on those abilities. The other one that you might want to look at is trained without armor.
That's speed defense though. That's not how I want to be able to defend. I just clicked it. I thought it was like bullets bouncing off. What kind of defense is that?
That might be actually more of a superpower thing.
Okay. Yeah, I do have that power. So let me just get back to...
Well, that could be like a power shift in might defense.
Hang on. Fuck, I missed which fucking page I'm on. Shit.
21 is first tier warrior.
Thank you. I didn't realize there was 250 pages of this thing.
It's a big book, yeah.
Oh yeah. Sorry. Practiced in armor. What does that do?
Practice in armor allows you to wear armor.
It's more complicated than that, okay? So
you don't get tired while wearing armor. You don't have slow reactions while wearing armor. You reduce the speed cost for wearing armor, and you can start the game with any type of armor of your choice.
Okay, what's combat prowess?
I have a question with because it says
there we go. Found it.
On the last last sentence on some of the special abilities, it says enabler. What does that mean?
An enabler is something that does not take up your action for it to happen.
Okay.
It's essentially like your bonus action in D&D, or actually even more like the free action that you used to get in 3.5.
So there's a good example in there. Enabler. If you know any magic, and yes, it's going to be different magic. Enabler allows you to read magic and understand magic.
Right.
It's kind of like a passive thing, I would say.
Yeah, it's a passive.
I
Yeah,
agree.
it's either something that is always on, like just knowing how to do something, or it is something that you can do without having to think about it, without having to use your action for it. So, like, there are actually a couple. I believe Speaker gets one that they can help an ally by encouraging them, and then they can still do their action as well.
Okay.
So you have things like that where an enabler lets you do something without using up your own action.
Okay.
I think I'm gonna take Bash because that's a super punch that
Bash is
dazes
a good.
your. Yeah, so I'm gonna.
You've
take
got Bash, improved edge, no need for weapons, and physical skills.
Exactly, and I'm gonna take Jump as a physical skills because my end goal is to super jump, Hulk jump wherever I go.
I like it.
Okay.
And there are some ways you'll be able to
Mario
improve on that.
goal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes. Waha!
Leap tall buildings in a single bound. I never understood why they said that about a character that could fly. That was just stupidity.
It was before he could fly, I think.
Exactly. No, it was more about like I can fly, but I can also jump very high. Look at this shit.
It's like, I can jump over a building. No, you just fly and land again.
Okay, I just look at the second tier warrior, and instead of hemorrhage, I read hemorrhoid. I was like, I don't want
that
to be a
can be
second
that
tier
can be your
warrior.
superpower is hemorrhage.
I don't wanna.
You
That
have
sounds very
explosive
efficient to me.
hemorrhoids that you can pick up and throw at the enemy.
Oh no!
No.
Oh
he
no!
doesn't pick them up.
Oh.
He just jumps onto the enemy and straddles them, and they
That's
explode.
Super Mario. Again. That's a Super Mario again.
What was the episode of The Boys where she cracks the guy's skull open?
That's
Yeah,
that's a hemorrhoid.
that kind of hemorrhoids. Yeah.
Okay. I'm just gonna erase that from my mind and let's continue.
So once you have documented those items
Uh-huh.
from the sheet, or onto the sheet rather,
I have, but yes.
I don't see that you have, but okay.
Yeah, I've written it down, so I have it here.
Okay, so you just haven't put it into your sheet yet.
Exactly.
Okay. So once you've done that, the next thing you need to do is have a look at the descriptor that you've chosen. So the descriptors
Where's that?
are... I'm just looking them up now. I've not gotten the page numbers down for the new book yet. And there are a lot of bookmarks. Chapter 7, page 39.
Page 30.
What descriptor did you choose?
Honorable, I think.
So it won't be on 39 then, because that's where the A's start. Honorable is on
A's.
page 48.
Okay.
So honorable is going to give you the following. +2 to your might pool.
Got it.
That's a positive one for you.
Yeah.
You have an additional skill in that you are trained in pleasant social interaction.
Thank you, citizen.
Yeah.
Yes, I do
Exactly
love
right.
you.
Oh no.
Do not fear, I am here.
Hey, I have seen a character use pleasant social interactions very much to their advantage.
Mhm.
How
It's
is
quite
the weather
quite
today?
amazing how good it
Thank
is,
you.
actually.
I
Yeah.
do like my Toyota.
For characters that use it properly, that is a great skill, because it
I-
basically means that anytime you are actually just dealing with someone in a non-confrontational setting, you can get a bonus for it.
I like that.
And to quote, I am the exact opposite.
Yeah, I like that. Just put the Boy Scout here and talk to the people. Like,
Yeah.
kids, let's talk about why drugs are bad.
Why do you think I recommended honorable to you, Madman?
Yeah, I like it. I like it.
The next thing that you get is a skill in discerning motives and seeing through lies.
I really like that one. Yes. Nice.
Yeah, so that's another skill that you have.
Kim is gonna hate us because all his character does is trying to
Look here,
deceive
son.
people. That's my first impression so far.
Me,
I
nah.
is bad, and you're not a bad person, so you
I'll
should
be honest. It's not. My goal is not to deceive people. It's far from it.
kill them. Oh, sorry.
Manipulate them.
No,
Now then.
I'm not even trying to manipulate. I'll be honest.
Yes.
The next thing on here then is an initial link to the starting adventure.
Uh-huh.
Now, I know that we're designing some links ourselves, but I actually really like some of these, so I'd like to see about if we can work any of these in as well.
The PC's goals appear to be honorable and commendable. Well, you see.
So basically what this is you would pick one of these 4 to apply to another member of the group. So either you see that one of the other PCs, their goals are honorable and commendable to you, or
No.
or you see that someone else in the group is about to do something dangerous, and you'd like to help protect them from it.
I kind of like the third one. Where
One of the
it's-
other PCs invited you, hearing of your trustworthiness.
Yeah, they're like, oh, this seems like a stand-up dude.
Okay.
Oh, I mean, but that's kind of up to you because that's not you guys because that's not me. Like,
Well, who in the group possibly would have invited Richard Reese along with this? We have mentioned already that Victoria and Richard know each other.
I would argue though that Victoria wouldn't have had like a good first experience with Johnny with Richard because it's like, oh, he's a dweeb.
You'd already established the fact though that the idea being is that the 2 of your characters had moved past that and established at least a cursory friendship.
Yeah. But do we know about each other's superhero identity though?
No, because
At this point,
as
we
I've
don't
stated
have them
in
yet.
the stuff, all of these interactions with each other are going to either be happening before you have powers, or they will not actually occur until you gain powers. Because as we will be starting in session 1 next week, you will not have your powers yet. You will gain them in session 1.
Because I would kind of like if Victoria were to know Richard before him getting powers, and someone else would have invited him to the team after he gotten his powers.
Okay.
Because that would be kind of like a 3-way dynamic of people knowing.
That's
you
what I
as a
was kind of
different person.
hoping to hear, is that we had some extra connectivity there. So is there anyone else in the group that possibly could have had some connection to a police bureaucrat who might invite them along?
Okay, so it's inviting me personally, not the superhero.
Well,
because
it could be
because I was thinking like Victoria would know me, like normal me, and someone else would know the superhero me.
Well, the only issue with that being is that the group is likely to be formed before you're publicly known to be heroes.
Ah, okay, got it.
So that would be more difficult. It would be more along the lines of someone seeking out possibly your help because of your professional capacity, or even something as simple as seeing you in a police uniform and not realizing you were just a paper pusher.
Okay. Any takers?
No one wants anything to do with that, man.
Sorry, I'm just filling out the sheet.
I'm just thinking how
I mean,
fitting
I'm an
it is.
alien. I don't think I can work with that.
Yeah, that's probably not.
Yeah, that's fair.
Well,
No, but actually, for Michael, for Kim's character, it's possible that you actually could have heard about this police officer from your sister as someone that you could trust.
Yep.
And so, if the situation occurs that you need to reach out to a police officer, he could possibly be the one you reach out to.
He would be, yeah, in some situations.
and you may also have met each other in passing, once maybe.
Yeah, it's very possible. So are we happy with
I'm
that
just
one?
here to deliver some papers to Torvald.
Okay, so we'll put that in there then. That Richard was, or will be, at some point in session 1, will be involved into things by Michael.
Mhm.
Okay.
I
Cool.
don't see that being a
Cool.
problem.
And actually, that helps me build onto session 1 a bit because I can start to put these threads together. So, Madman, that is your second part done, your descriptor.
Mhm.
The last one then is your foci.
Yeah, I went with the absorb energy because that will let me be Sebastian Shaw.
So that one is on page 64. And your tier 1 ability is absorb kinetic energy. So you'll document that onto your sheet.
Yes. And
then once you've done that,
exactly. Oh yeah, if I click it, I get more information.
yes, you do. Yeah.
Nice. Oh, that's intellect points. What?
Yes.
I didn't think that. I didn't think that was intellect points.
I mean, we can always reflavor things. That's not a problem.
Because I really thought it was more of like your body be able to handle the absorption,
And I'm
basically.
perfectly happy to retheme things to work.
Okay, cool.
One of the beautiful things about the Cypher system is that it provides you some kind of frameworks and then says retheme it, make it work. One of the things I loved about the Callisto 6 series is watching it. 4 of the characters had the exact same ability on their characters, and each one of them used it and made it appear in completely different ways, to the point that if you didn't know it was an ability, you would have no idea.
Hang on. Is it absorb energy? Because sorry, that seems like it's like touch. Seems
You
like
touch an
actually.
object and absorb its energy. If you touch a cipher, you render it useless. If you touch an artifact, roll for its depletion. If you touch
Yeah,
another kind of powered machine or device, the game determines if the power is fully drained. In any case, you absorb the energy from the object and regain intellect points.
okay. Because this wasn't the flavor in the other book. Hang on. I'm just gonna check that it's actually absorb energy.
Yeah, basically what this is saying is that you're using the energy of other objects to repower yourself.
Yeah. Okay. Because in the shit. Hang on. Because this is what it says in the Numenera book. Hang on. Doop. And see, this is why I kinda fell for it.
Yeah, Madman. If you read in Absorb Energy,
Mm-hmm.
It's about halfway down. Let me find it.
If you
You can use this ability as a defensive action when you're the target of an incoming ability. Doing so cancels the incoming ability. You absorb the energy as if it were a device. So what it's saying is you can either pick up a stationary item, a battery, whatever, and suck the energy out of it, or you can attempt to absorb the energy of an attack as your defensive action.
Okay. So
it's actually giving you a little bit more than what the old version did.
Okay. Because it was absorb the kinetic energy. That's why I went like, oh, that sounds. And now I see that it actually says intellect there too.
Well, I'm very happy for the basis of the character that you're creating to retheme that as you use might and regain might.
Cool. I'll take it.
Because it is more of a physicality rather than a mental energy that you're working with, a la Sebastian Shaw, as you've mentioned for your.
Basically, just being able to hold it without exploding.
Yes.
Cool.
Okay.
I'm A-okay with it.
Okay.
Oh,
The
right
last-
beneath it, it's absorb pure and okay, never mind. Sorry, absorb kinetic energy is right beneath it.
Yeah,
Just
those
realized.
are higher level. Those are higher tier abilities, I believe.
Yeah, yeah.
You get more
Okay.
specific things later on.
Cool. Sorry, I'm just excited. Sorry. Go
Okay,
ahead.
so the last thing we need to do for you then is your power shifts.
Mm-hmm.
Now, power shifts are on page 292.
2. Yes.
And basically, you get 5 points. You can spend no more than 3 of them on the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, what these are going to do is they're going to modify everything you do in that area.
Okay.
So, for example, a power shift in strength is going to give you super strength. That's going to apply to jumping, damage dealing, thrown attacks, etc.
Mm-hmm.
Resilience, that's your bullets bouncing off.
Hang on,
It's
where's
going to apply
this?
to your might defense rolls and add armor. Power is going to apply to a specific power that you have. For the build that you've described to me, I would probably say you want to look at resilience and strength.
I agree. Where are they to?
Page 292, second column, in that list of bold terms.
I don't. What? 292?
Yep. It's definitely 292. Make sure you're on 292 of the book, not 292 of the PDF. There, I've just screenshotted them. I'm going to have to nip to the loo. I'll be back in 1 minute.
Oh shit. Okay.
Oh, I see it.
Yeah. Took me a while. So 5. I'm thinking 3 resilience, 2 strength. Guys, I'm gonna tank and protect you guys because I know some of you are squishy. I'm not pointing any fingers, Kim, but I'm just thinking that some of you might not be as durable.
Not durable. What you on about?
Probably true.
Yeah, nah, my character is like straight glass cannon.
Yeah,
So,
you too?
my-
Shit.
I'll be perfectly honest. My character is extremely durable, and I'm not joking. But it's for a different reason than what you think.
You know, like you could sneeze in my character's direction, he'll kill over.
It sounds like middle of the road. But well,
But what he lacks in physical power, he makes up for with quite a good bit of mental power, seeing as I'm basically Shang Tsung from Mortal Kombat.
oh, okay.
Hey!
Are you playing Adept?
Nice.
No, I'm actually playing a speaker, but the speaker has a couple of better abilities that I could use, and I'm just gonna reflavor.
All right, I'm back.
Okay, Casey.
Yep.
Regarding the power shifts.
I heard resilience 3, strength 2.
Exactly, because I already have the skills that give me extra jumping.
Yeah,
So I'm
that makes
thinking this-
perfect sense.
Yeah.
So basically, that's going to mean for your resilience, you get a reduction of difficulty by 3 for any might defense rolls, and you get plus 3 armor.
Is that good?
Well, the way that armor works is, let's say that you take 8 damage from an attack. You have 3 armor. You now only take 5 damage from the attack.
Okay.
Armor is damage reduction.
And then on top of that, I have my foci that can also absorb physical energy or kinetic energy.
No, the armor is going to apply to whatever gets through that.
Okay.
So you'll get hit, You will try to absorb it first, and anything that gets through will then soak against the armor.
Cool.
Okay?
Cool.
And that
Sorry, what does the
is-
strength and the strength power shift does reducing the difficulty thing the same?
of tasks involving strength, jumping, dealing damage. So that's going to mean that you do an additional 6 damage when you attack.
Oh shit, really?
3 additional damage per power shift. And then you're going to reduce the difficulty of any jumping tasks by 2.
Okay, so we all have 5 power shifts.
Yes, and you can spend a maximum of 3 of them in any one place. I will also say, if you think of a power shift that applies to your character that is not listed here, we can discuss it. This is not necessarily an inclusive list. I think it actually even says that in the book. Yeah, are not
Yeah.
necessarily limited to.
Yeah, if you could have one power shift that's that pertains to more like social interactions and things like that.
Yeah, I would definitely say that would be able to work. It's going to kind of apply to the same area of like the skills that Madman got, so like pleasant social interactions,
Right.
unpleasant interactions. You basically need to choose what type of interactions you want it to apply to.
Yeah.
It could be business dealings, and it's only going to apply to business interactions. It could be negotiating. It could be anything like you just need to kind of theme the type of action, social interaction that it applies to.
Can I get a skill for filling out my taxes?
No.
Ah, damn it. Am I not accountant?
It's a difficulty 9, and no one ever passes the roll.
Where do we write note down the power shifts then? Is that on?
There's not necessarily a specific place for them. I would put them under special abilities.
That's what I did.
Okay.
Yep.
Anything that's actually a skill goes under skills. Anything that is your other abilities goes under special abilities. We'll fill in attacks and weapons as we start working out some of your attacks and weapons. Armor, if you have it, we can apply there. Ciphers, you don't have any as of yet. I might give you a couple before the game. I don't know. I'm still thinking about that. You will not start with any artifacts.
Whoops.
Sorry, what? I know we already covered this, but what page was actually my absorb energy thing on? I lost my way. Lost my way, man. I don't know where I am. Who am I? What do I do?
Shut up.
Why am I?
Sounds like me
You
in a
are.
high school class. I can't figure out where I am in the book.
Absorb energy is on page 108.
One.
Search functions in the PDF for the win.
Dankeschön. Ooh. Ooh. Is that really the start off point? Like, how do I see the escalation of it? Like tier 1, tier 2?
You'll go back to your power set.
I should
What's
do
your power set again?
Absorb energy. Where's it? Where are you? Had it here. I only find the 7 intellect points, which seems like a weird thing to start off with.
Well, no, you need to go into your actual foci.
Yeah, where's the foci?
Just a second.
Focus.
It's chapter 8. So you're looking at page 65.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, I found it. Absorb connected energy. There we go. It was actually tier 1.
Oh, so you've looked at the wrong ability then, is what you're
Yes,
saying?
I did, because I'm a moron, Casey. Welcome.
Okay.
Have you
So
met
you're
me?
starting out is absorb kinetic energy then.
Yes.
That
And
would be why you were confused.
Yes, because I was
You
like,
absorb the portion of the impact of a physical attack or impact. You negate 1 point of damage you would have suffered and store that as energy. Once you have absorbed 1 point of energy, you continue to negate 1 point any incoming blow or impact, but the residual energy bleeds off with a flare of harmless light. Okay. So it basically gives you 1 additional armor, if in effect, at the lowest level.
um,
Okay. So we've walked Madman through his creation there. Everything but item selection, which Madman is the other thing that you will want to look at.
what?
Just kind of working out item selection.
Okay.
You got a
work
list of
my
a
way
few
there.
items that you get to. Yeah.
I wrote that down, so I'll look at the items when I figured out how my abilities actually work.
Yep. Now, is there anyone else who's still working through their creation that wants a hand next?
Well, I'm still looking at the power shifts. So if you could like help me just figure out that social interaction thing with the.
Okay. What kind of interactions do you want it to apply to?
Well, two kinds. Well, I want I would very much like to have that. What's it called? Pleasant social interactions. And also business interactions.
Okay. So are you wanting to basically spend your 5 levels on those 2 things? Or do you want to apply any to your like actual power set type thing?
Okay, so yeah, because I'm looking at this.
Because that would be 2 different ones you're talking about there.
Yeah. So the rules of the power shifts there. Permanent levels of effort. Okay, so you can put like 5 of those power shifts that you have in like 1 skill.
Well, no. What I've said is for our purposes, you get a maximum of 3 in any one place. You get 5 total.
Yeah.
But none of them can be above 3. So you could have one thing.
So
at
like for
3,
me, I
one
did
thing at
healing
2,
3, power 1.
and then you get 1 more.
Yeah, above 3. I'm not sure I follow there.
Max 3 on one.
You've got 5 points, but you can only
Yep.
put 3 points in one thing.
Yeah.
So you could have one thing at 3 and another thing at 2.
Okay.
Or you could have something at 3, something at 1, and something else at 1. Or you could have 2, 2, 1, however you want to add it up. But no single thing can be above 3.
Get it. Okay, so all right, so I would put 3, I think, in. Yeah, what would that be? Probably business interactions.
Okay.
Or
So yeah,
2.
you just want to document in your special abilities, power shift, business interactions 3.
Yeah. I think I'll put it at 2 instead.
Okay.
Casey, would you allow for power shift social manipulation to actually affect things like fast talk?
It could be applied to the same role, yes.
Yeah. Cool.
One of the beautiful things about Cypher, and I am saying that a lot because I am really liking the simplicity of this system, is that anytime you're about to make a roll, if you can make a case for something applying, you can ask, would this apply in this circumstance? And we can make a ruling there on the spot. You might have something that you, on the surface, have no idea how it would connect, but if you can think of a way to explain to me how it would connect, I might let you apply it.
So I have a question concerning in the power shifts.
Yep.
The power versus the single tack, like 3 additional points per shift, and the single tack also 3 additional points per shift. Like I understand that it's like I don't understand like what the use of power like. Isn't the use of power the same as a single attack, or like?
No, the difference there is you would use power if you have some kind of a superpower that is not a damage dealing attack. So, for example, Kim might have telepathy. So, if he's trying to read someone's mind, that is not an attack.
Yeah.
So, power would affect that, whereas attack would be firing a gun or using a sword or something of that nature. If it is something to do with an actual like a energy blast or mind reading or anything like that, that is power.
Mm.
Power.
Yeah. So an attack is for intents and purposes, a physical or ranged, mundane attack.
Oh, okay.
It could
That's
be
where
a gun, it could be a bow, it could be a sword, it could be a punch. That would be an attack.
Mm.
If
Alright,
it
thank you.
is a mind blast or a fireball or a lightning bolt, those would be powers.
Mm.
So I gave myself the mind reading power shift power, Casey. So we've spoken about this at great length.
We did, yes.
So for those of people that don't understand, Casey had a great example which kind of broke down any sort of argument for me. He basically stated, would you say Sean Gray, Professor X, and Psylocke all had the same skill set? And no, they are definitely different. So that's kind of where, if you guys are wondering how it works.
So basically, Kim tried to argue for a power shift in mind power, basically, for intents and purposes. And I said that needed to be broken down to an extent that it was a specific type of mind powers. Because, again, the example I used, as he said there, Jean Grey, Professor X, Psylocke, they're all telepaths, they're all telekinetics, but they do not have the same skill set whatsoever.
Very different.
So your power shift is a way of focusing the skill set within your foci, which is your powers.
And of course, I chose Jean Grey. Just saying.
It still sounds bizarre whenever you say Jean Grey like that.
Yeah, sorry.
By the way, I just realized that from the original reading of absorb kinetic energy, it was damage up to 5. So that would have been basically being immortal. Yeah. So
no, a heavy weapon can deal 8 damage.
Yeah, but then you have armor on top of that.
Yeah.
That would have meant basically any attack on you go.
Yeah. Absorb kinetic energy the old way plus a heavy armor would have been basically immortality.
Yeah, so that's unfair. Yeah.
That is exactly why they nerfed it.
That's fair. That's fair.
All right. So, Pear, are you happy with your power shifts now? Did you get those?
Yeah, I think I went for just 3 in dexterity and 2 in intellect, actually.
Makes sense. So you're fast and you're quick thinking.
Yeah.
Hey, great mind thinks alike.
I mean, great minds, really. I mean,
my minds think alike.
Yeah, I mean, if we would even steep that low, I mean, ugh.
Calvin, how are you doing on your creation?
Going good so far. I just finished filling in all of my abilities. Now I'm gonna fill in the skills.
Excellent.
So
You know.
skills, those are really bloody hard to get. I've
They're not
learned.
actually once you start leveling up.
Mm.
Also, it kind of also
Huh.
depends on what you pick. Like I literally have one of my special abilities. I just gained 2 skills.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
No, so I had to sacrifice
You-
ciphers to get mine.
So, is it possible to like multi-class, sort of?
Yes.
yes, yeah.
Okay.
There is a way of basically swapping out abilities from your class into another. The other thing that I wanted to mention again, I've mentioned it in the chat, but it's not a standard rule. It is a house rule, but something that I've decided I want to do in order to enhance the kind of superhero feel of the game is going to be a secondary foci.
Yeah.
So basically, what's going to happen is whenever you level up, I use the term vaguely, you're not really leveling up in this game, but when you reach tier 2, you will be able to choose a second foci from the book to gain at tier 1. So, for example, Kim has taken telepathy. He could choose as his secondary foci telekinesis. And then he would be a telepath to telekinesis, telekinetic 1. And then when you go up to tier 3, your secondary would go to 2. When you go to 4, it goes to 3, etc. So you will have a broader range of powers through that.
And the argument was made. I don't know who. I don't know if it was myself or someone else, but because
It was
this is
you.
the third wave of superheroes, they were now growing in power.
Well,
I just
one
I
thing-
just want
one
to
thing
say
that
that
I
my
will say-
absorb pure my absorb energy and release energy, they don't cost anything, which is awesome.
One
Sorry,
thing that I
go
will
ahead.
point out as far as the power scale of things is that the first and second waves were both very small scale reactions. The event that triggered the third wave was a much, much larger event than the first two. So that could also account for the power level difference. Now,
Well, we're still younglings, so in fairness, Callisto 6 would kick our ass.
Oh yeah.
any
oh
day.
yeah, oh yeah. By
Easily.
the end of the campaign, they were tier 6.
Yeah.
Well, some of them were. That's one thing I will actually mention is that it is worth bearing in mind in this game that you will almost certainly not level up together as a group.
Mm.
The reason for this is that there are multiple ways to spend XP.
Cool.
I'll let that sink in for a second. Because basically, in the most basic of terms, if you look on your character sheet and you look down towards the bottom, you'll see some boxes for advancement.
Yeah.
And basically, for each tier, there are 4 advancements that you have to buy.
Oh, is that how it works? I was a bit curious about that.
And I'm just looking up.
Here's my question: is the idea is that you write the thing in the advancement, the tier, and then you add it to a skill, for example. Also.
Well, each of the advancements does something different. I'm
Okay.
just trying to find them in the book.
I thought you could like, okay, I'm now able to use handguns, and I write that down in advancement 2.
Well,
Able to use handguns, and then you add it to your skills, and that's one of them.
give me just a second. I'm just trying to
One,
find.
motherfucker. 2.
I'll just keep this here until.
Hang on, let me. Yeah.
You
Yep.
do know you're showing flipping the rest of us off as well.
Well, you deserve it for something, I'm sure.
Yeah, I suppose.
I can't believe I'm getting flipped off right now. I am disgusted.
Well, you're not right now. I've stopped now. That was completely inaccurate.
Oh, damn it.
That was completely
Horrible
slanderous.
timing. Yeah.
So we'll just do it so that if you want to flip us off for some reason in the future, you can't use it then.
Okay, so there are four things. There are four things that you need to do in order to level up.
Love the
And you
DM.
can do these in any order. You can increase your capabilities, which gives you 4 points to add to your stat pools.
Hang on. Increase capabilities for it to stat pool. Yes.
Yep. You can move towards perfection, which
That's
allows
basically
you to,
increasing a skill.
that allows you to increase one of your edges.
Mm.
What's an edge? Like in a skill or?
No, your might edge that reduces your costs.
Casey, I was
Okay,
to speak
okay.
to my missus for a second. I missed the first part about advancement. I know the
Okay.
four areas, but what did you say after that?
Okay, so increasing capabilities is one of them.
Yeah.
That adds 4 points to one of your stat pools.
Yeah.
Moving towards perfection adds
Yeah.
1 to one of your edges.
Mhm.
Extra effort increases the amount of effort that you can use by 1.
Yeah.
And skills
Yeah.
allows you to gain a new skill or advance a current skill into an expertise.
And then you have optional rules with reduce the cost for wearing armor, add to your recovery rolls, select another
Yep,
focus.
that's all on page 240.
Yeah.
And basically, you can buy those things. They're 4 XP each. You can buy them in any order. And once you've bought the 4 of them, you are now tier 2, and you get the benefits of that.
Do you need to buy one of each? In other words.
Yes.
So as an
You
option,
cannot buy the same one more than once.
No, so I could, as an option, skip buying skills and buy one of the other options instead.
Correct.
Okay.
You can replace one of them with the other options, but you
Yeah.
cannot do the same one more than once.
But I can't use the stat pool 4 times, for example.
No.
Okay. Just checking.
So basically,
But,
you buy. So it costs you 16 XP to level up.
Cool.
But here's the thing: you can use XP for other things as well.
Yeah. And those
XP is not just used for leveling up.
And sometimes you gain XP for using XP, because sometimes it's a really smart thing to do.
Yeah. So basically, let's just say that I announce that I'm going to employ a GM intrusion. So basically, I'm going to tell you I'm about to change things in some way to your detriment.
Deja vu, change things.
Yeah, but this time I'll actually tell you I'm going to do it. I'm not going to just do it like I do in D&D.
Something fucked up in the Matrix, basically.
And what will then happen is either you let me do what I plan on doing to mess with you. If you do that, you gain 1 XP, and you also can give an XP to another player. Or, if you don't want me to screw with you, you can instead spend 1 XP, and I don't get to do it. The trick is, you do that before you know how I'm going to screw with you.
Because
And
you're a
sometimes-
bitch.
And because it's Casey, he will have us use XP just... Oh, the light went out. And we will read all the world into it because it's an intrusion. Whereas...
And then like,
Exactly.
your
Just a
shoe
bonus.
is not tied and you will fall over.
So if you want to level up really fast, we just have to bend over and accept everything.
Yeah, basically.
And that's not always a good thing.
It's always a good thing.
Just so you know, I am going to accept everything.
Okay, let's just.
Yeah.
So anyhow,
Just
happens next?
you obviously want to bend over and accept it. Got
Yeah,
it. We now know that about you.
cool.
Oh, Oh God, no, no.
Your words.
That's how we interpret.
You're the one that said it.
Shit! I just want XP, you guys.
The other things that you can do to spend XP, you can at any point spend 1 XP to re-roll a die that you've just rolled.
Oh.
Anytime you want to re-roll a die, you can do. Costs you 1 XP.
So nat 1 die. Hey, a 2.
Well, there's a trick to that as well, yeah. Because if you roll a nat 1 and you don't re-roll it, then I get to do a GM intrusion and you don't get any XP for that one.
Get free GM intrusion. I
And
gotta
just to
learn
put this
how
in
to spell
perspective,
intrusion.
this just happened in Callisto 6, which I'm watching now. So they're in an underwater base. They're
Don't
completely...
spoil it! Don't spoil it! I haven't seen it yet. I wanna see it.
I haven't seen it, but spoil it.
Okay, spoil it.
I've
What-
seen.
Go ahead.
Know
bit
that
of
I will
first
hate
episode.
you.
So,
You do anyway.
that's normal. So they're in an underwater base, and basically one of the girls roll a 1, and instead of just getting the monster, they're getting the monster's daddy. That comes walking up.
It's like there's a monster in the base. They roll a 1. They let it go. Oh, look, there's a bigger monster behind that monster.
Which, by the way, had a huge impact. Just saying.
Oh yeah, certainly, yeah.
No, the bigger monster is actually the best character ever. Just so you know.
Yeah, I haven't
Yeah,
seen
sure.
that yet.
So, so yeah, you can re-roll a die by spending 1 XP. You can also do for 1 XP a player intrusion.
Oh.
So
And
just
there's-
like how as a DM I can decide to intrude on the narrative, as a player, you can pay 1 XP for a player intrusion. This is that kind of thing where in D&D you might say, I look around to see if there's a weapon nearby. Well, in this game, you could say, I spend 1 XP for a player intrusion, I look around and find a weapon.
I am writing 1 XP for making shit up.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
You can actually, in minor ways, amend the immediate narrative.
Oh, look at that! I have the ultimate nullifier in my hand. I forgot I had that.
Yeah, no,
It was in my pocket all along.
would not be an immediate benefit. That would be no. But things like I find a med kit, I find a weapon, I find a crowbar, basic things like
I
that.
find myself.
That might be more of a long.
No, you find
Wow.
a few brief moments and then lose it again.
Okay, that-
he's-
yeah.
I found my calling. Wait, what was that?
I've
Oh.
never felt so at peace. Boom! Shit! I just had it. I just had it. Fuck.
Now, do you know where I'm going with that? Robin Hood Men in Tights.
Oh yeah.
What? No, please don't.
Have you ever seen Robin Hood Men in Tights?
Yep.
I don't watch that kind of porno.
The blind guy runs into a tree, goes, I can see, turns around and runs off to tell everyone that he can see, runs face first into another tree, and then goes, no, wait, it's gone again.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
So
sad.
That sounds like a player intrusion and a GM intrusion after each other.
that was a very excellent Mel Brooks movie, actually.
Yeah,
Men
it
in
was.
Tights.
He goes up and has this speech to the people and says, "Lend me your ears," and they just rip off their ears and toss it at him.
By the way, Casey, I will not take improved edge because apparently that didn't allow me to increase it from 1 to 2. It's increasing something from 0 to 1.
Oh, so
And-
it's technical for one. Right, okay.
Yeah, so, and he's not a smart boy, so
So-
I'm not gonna...
And
You
I
could take
had-
it next for dodging.
So, Jason,
I'm not
I
gonna
had a
dodge shit.
question about that.
Mm-hmm.
The
So
whole thing is being hit and absorbing that shit, man.
you
Fair enough.
you can move edge around based on basic stuff, but you can't move the edge into increasing an edge into 2, can you? You wouldn't allow that.
Not at tier 1, no.
No, I expected that. I wanted to check.
So we've talked about player intrusions for 1 XP. You can also, for 2 XP, you spend 2 XP to get what they call a short-term benefit.
No,
Now,
Like Viagra.
that's not short term, Casey.
short or medium terms is 2 XP.
Thank you. Thank you. I want the medium to be in there.
So basically, what short or medium term benefits do is they allow you to influence the narrative to a greater extent than the 1 XP player intrusion.
I'm really
So-
proud of my joke.
I like.
So you could sit there and you're running up to, say, a helicopter. And you look at it and you say, actually, you know what? I learned how to fly this model of helicopter years ago. And suddenly you gain skill in piloting that helicopter. Now, it only works for that model of helicopter, not for any other kind of helicopter. Madman, I'm going to just kick you out of the game.
Sorry.
So you don't want to know about spending XP.
Yes, I am. I am. Whew. Go ahead.
You hear what I've just said.
Yeah, you can use a helicopter if you.
Yeah, if you use the Viagra first, then you do the helicopter afterwards. That's the one.
This is really
Casey, I have to
high
drink more.
standard.
I'm pouring another drink for that.
Considering how they started earlier today, I'm not surprised that this is where we ended up, to be honest.
I'm on my 5th.
Yeah. So, so simple answer. It's a short or medium or long term short or medium benefit, yeah.
Yeah, short or medium term benefits are something that is going to be more beneficial than the 1 point intrusion.
Yeah.
But it's going to give you a very specific kind of benefit. It could be a skill, but only in a specific thing.
Yeah.
So, for example, you could learn to pilot a type of helicopter, not all helicopters.
No, but I can in the short term cure cancer, but only my type of cancer.
Yeah, only a specific kind of cancer. Yeah, that kind of thing.
Madman knows only how to pilot the rufflecopter.
It could be exactly that. And then you can spend 3 XP for a long-term benefit, which takes that even further. All of a sudden, you know what? I've got a house in the city.
Oh, my dropship now is able to go underwater.
Yeah, that was fun. In the show that I'm using as the basis for this, they stole a dropship, and they were trying to get to an underwater base. They spent 3 XP for a long-term benefit to find out that the dropship actually had submarine aquatic abilities. They were able to actually alter the vehicle to say it can go underwater for 3 XP. So, the highlight of that is to point out that as players, you actually have a lot more control of the narrative in this game than you do in most systems.
At the cost of leveling your character.
At the cost of you're going to level up slower.
But if it's for the good of the group, of course, it's worth it. And
Yeah.
if it's implied that everyone is taking their load and not one person does everything, then it's gonna be more even with leveling.
Yeah.
So you're
Exactly
spending
right.
everything and I'm leveling. Gotcha.
Yeah. You bitch. You would, wouldn't you?
Have you
And the
If we
thing
all
is, actually-
bend over and take our load, then let's go.
Yeah. I see
Remember-
what you're doing.
I'm the rich
sorry,
kid.
I'm-
Remember that? I'm the
Yeah,
rich kid.
yeah.
All right. So, moving on from all of you wanting to bend over and take a load from me.
Whoa.
Sorry guys.
What's
Yeah.
going on? Seriously. It's like 5-year-old mentality.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's immediate range? What's the range different? What's What's long range? What's medium range?
Okay. Ranges in Cypher are purposely vague. because we don't use battle maps for this game. Immediate range is basically someone who is right next to you. Someone who is, in D&D terms, in melee range. Short range is someone who is outside of immediate range, but is still fairly close.
So if I have a control the field says whenever you hit the target, your maneuver hit it into a position you desire within immediate range. What would be an application for that, for example?
So you could, for example, knock the enemy. If you and Kim's character were standing close to each other, for example, you could bash the enemy directly into where Kim can then get a shot off on him at him next as well. You can move them around in such a way to actually set them up for something else.
Cool.
Or if you're standing near a ledge, you could move them off the ledge, type thing.
Okay. Here's a question. There is a warrior thing, because I'm not taking the improved edge one.
Yep.
That says trained without armor. And it says you're trained in the speed defense task when not wearing armor enabler.
Yep.
Could that be a strength defense if the idea is to tank the shit out of it?
I would allow you to do that as a might defense, yeah.
Cool.
Soak the punches with your muscles and
Exactly.
Yeah, that's more of along the lines of just being able to soak the damage rather than necessarily dodging it. But yeah, I'm happy with that.
Okay, cool. I'll take that one then instead of edge.
Cool.
Awesome.
Now then, I think we want to go back and look at the connections between people a bit more.
Yes.
So, Calvin, what was your power set again?
I am a. Hold on. Jesus Christ, my character sheet. It actually vanished. There we go.
Are you playing Jesus Christ? That's just unfair. Just fucking unfair. Alright, if someone is gonna play God here, I'm just...
well, I mean, walking on water isn't that high
okay,
powered.
yeah, but you know, just resurrection, that's just...
That's not until tier 6.
Oh, that's
pretty
Deadpool
good.
though. That's
Is
Deadpool,
it
that's
real
fine.
resurrection
That's
or
fine.
is it more like
Regeneration, yeah, you're right.
yeah, make undead?
Yeah.
No, it's resurrection. He died and came back. At least that's
If
on
you're
the
playing Jesus, I call Moses.
That would be a very different game of Cypher than the
Why?
one that I had planned.
I want a prestige class in Abraham. So how does that work? Okay.
Yes, speaker, I think it's the descriptor is weird. So the weird one that kind of stood out to me was, unbeknownst to the players, their mission coincides with my own. And I was really kind of leaning into that. Like, the idea I have for my character is essentially because he's weird, he's essentially into, like, he's basically since John Constantine, he's into, like, occult stuff.
Okay.
Cool.
And so he's just been, like, doing, like, just balls deep research on all kinds of occult stuff, and he kind of went down this rabbit hole and found, like, yeah, there's this, like, weird ancient titan, and it's like, I need to find this thing, even if it's obviously, like, even if it existed, it's like remains are gone, but I need to find some kind of, like, evidence of it.
Okay.
I like it.
And of course, because he's into the occult stuff as well, he does like seances and communes with spirits. It's like he will gladly like bust out the Ouija board.
Freaky shit.
Oh shit.
Constantine is like my favorite.
I love Constantine. Shame he can't get a good movie or television show.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I have.
The television show was okay.
Hang on. I gotta show you guys this. I have them all. Hellblazer, motherfuckers.
Very nice. I have
Oh,
them
nice.
digitally, but not physically. But yeah, the TV show was decent. I won't say it was amazing, but it was
No,
decent.
it was too PG for Constantine.
True. I will
Yeah,
agree
yeah,
with
I
that.
agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like murder, grotesque, super pedophile demons in the
Oh, wait.
first issue. So
I think
it was.
I actually took a
What?
screenshot.
Why am I getting screenshotted here?
No! Gotcha! Fucking.
Nice.
I don't use Skype.
Okay.
I don't know what that meant.
Hey, if you want to take pictures of Casey, just message him later and he'll send them to you.
I mean, it's got to be reciprocal, though, you know? It's got to be reciprocal. That's the only way that
I've done
works.
that a few times myself.
Oh yeah, I have a library of them.
Yeah,
It's
fair.
like-
We don't talk about that.
It's impressive.
That's great.
Don't delete your messages and
Yeah,
things
just-
you don't
Just
remember.
delete that.
Madman, just don't you start again. Madman did an entire art piece of color-shifted photographs of one of our ex-players once, and
Well, it was funny though. It wasn't good fun. He hated it.
he hated it. Yeah, he's not with us anymore. Amazingly.
Totally not related.
How do you know it wasn't related to that?
It's true.
Okay, so Calvin, yeah. So the other PCs, whether they realize it or not, have some connection to something that you know about, which has gotten you involved in it. Just thinking on that, trying to kind of incorporate it into the setting and into the world. Why don't we say that it had something to do with C-Day?
Okay.
If you know anything about the setting, basically 40 years ago, Los Angeles was destroyed by some calamitous event, and there are really no records of what happened, other than the city was destroyed, and after it was destroyed, the corporations came in and basically brought it back to life, brought people back in, rebuilt. That's kind of when the corporations started taking over, was after 9 million people died on C-Day. So the weird that you were investigating had something, and we can flesh this out in chats later on, but it had something to do with C-Day. Okay?
All right. Yeah.
Cool. I like that.
That's badass. Like, you know
Yes.
something that the rest of us don't, and you don't want to tell us because it might screw our brains out.
Or he thinks he knows something. He might
Oh, yeah.
not necessarily, but yeah.
It
Yeah,
was
my guy's not
clowns,
100%
man. It was
sure.
clowns. You all don't understand. They are everywhere.
Did you have an actual name for your character other than Wormwood?
Yes, Augustine Alexander.
Perfect. I'm just updating my note pages as we go.
So, did you guys actually say some shit towards me? Because I heard something. But I'm
Oh,
not
yeah.
sure.
Called your
Yes.
person or something.
Yeah. I was talking shit, not just normal banter.
Well,
This is
now
like
you're not
every-
going to know, are
every
you? Now you'll just never know.
Well, you're recording this and putting it on YouTube, so there's that.
Unless you watch it back on YouTube, you'll never
Yeah.
know.
Wonders of editing can do lots of stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
You just
Yeah.
cut out that whole one section of just us talking.
Yeah.
No, he would manipulate the voice to sound to.
He did that
Feel
once
really
in one of
offensive
the
towards me.
recordings.
I have plenty of samples of Kim's voice from the past that I can dub over things.
I'm
It's like,
not surprised.
Hi, I am a punchy bitch.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even have to splice that together. I'm pretty sure I could find where he's actually said it.
Yeah, probably. But
Okay.
joke aside,
So,
we're talking about relationships, right?
yes.
Correct.
So, how does Augustine know anyone else in the group before that connection ties him in with things.
I would say no for right now. I think it was Kim's character who was like rich and was like doing research into stuff. I could maybe see him hearing about him through the grapevine, but that's about as far as it went.
Okay.
Yeah, that's correct. So I hired a bunch of scientists and I hired a bunch of very specific, highly skilled people, and I paid ludicrous amounts for them.
You have no idea what they actually can and cannot do.
And
That sounds great, man.
they were hired and fired within 6 months.
Yeah, I could definitely
Yeah, so
see.
you know him as a rich guy that basically hires up a bunch of people, starts up a company, runs it for 6 months, and then fires everyone and disappears.
Pretty much.
Yeah,
As you do.
Yeah.
I
I
mean,
could
all of
definitely
us,
see,
all of us have done it at some point.
yeah, definitely see Augustine. He could be like on the net essentially, like on some weird like dark web forum, and he's just like, oh yeah, there's this guy, and it's like he did this thing, and it's like, okay, I'll make a mental note of that, but I won't go any deeper than that.
So if you are on the dark web and researching, I would give you a tiny bit more actually, because there are some discussions about what happened there. Although a bunch of NDAs, but there are a couple of people that will still talk in the right places, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I could definitely.
So if you want to message some of that over, Kim,
Yeah, well,
and just copy me on what you send as well.
Yep.
Cool.
Will do.
We
It
can't
was a
really do
sex
much
scandal.
with Xavier because he's not here. I don't know what's happened with that.
Sure, something.
And we kind of know how Kiki is going to get brought into things, or at least I know how that's going to happen. Fun times.
Yeah, you're gonna play our new alien overlord, was that it?
I was just, I
Yeah,
just know she was an
basically.
alien.
Yeah, that's me. I'm the new alien overlord. Nice
Yeah.
to meet you guys.
You sound very convincing.
The new alien overlord who has already stated that their intention is to just bend over and take everything.
That's not my character. That's just me. God damn it.
Oh, okay, fair enough. You want to bend over and take everything, not your character.
Okay.
Got it.
Got it. Jesus Christ.
Oh man.
Maybe it's more of an alien edgelord.
So, how are things besides that? Weather is nice, huh? Yeah?
It's just like an even more depressing, like Mr. Meeseeks.
Yeah, something like
Mr.
that.
Mystics,
Hey,
look at
if-
me!
Have
Take
you
everything.
seen season 4, episode 1?
Not yet. I need to watch.
Yeah, it's
You
good.
you get the depressed Mr. Meeseeks in that one.
Yeah.
Oh, I gotta watch that.
The knockoff Mr. Meeseeks.
I love that sequence with the wasps.
Oh god, yeah. The whole episode was just absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't wait until episode 2 of that one. Brilliant. Okay, so we've got some interactions there. Has everyone finished their characters?
I'm
I
still adding.
think I have.
Yeah, I've got everything outside of like weapons and stuff.
How do I know shit like I'm skilled in
Oh, weapons. I
I'm
haven't
trained
done
in
that.
pleasant social interactions. Is
Mhm.
that intellect or is that
That-
what
I think
like
that's
what's
intellect.
that?
That's going
Yeah.
to be intellect, yeah.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yep.
Okay. And discerning lies is also intellect, right?
Yep, it is. I'm just going to have to nip AFK again. Sorry, guys. I'll be right back.
Okay, guys, I've learned this the hard way. He has wireless headphones, so he can hear us talking shit about him. But don't let that stop you. Please keep going.
Ah,
But
damn
you
it.
guys first, not me.
I was
You guys
just about to
first.
say that I was so glad of being rid of that stupid bastard.
Yeah.
At
Fuck
least
him.
for a little bit, but
you
now I
know.
can't even do that.
Wow.
Did you get that one, Calvin?
Let's see. Where is it? Oh god.
Fuck yeah, I fucking
Yeah,
have
you got
learn
it.
lies as a class skill. That's nice.
Okay, yeah, I got it.
Look at here, me boy. You're not being very truthful, see? Let us talk. I was like you once.
What? Honest and pure? And a good guy?
Oh yes. But then shit went sideways. I can understand you. Please, just speak to me.
Jesus, Switch games are so expensive. Like 40 quid a pop.
Switch games?
Yeah, so
I just bought today I actually bought the new Pokemon game.
I've heard it's good.
I haven't played it.
I heard they made like they have this whipped cream Pokemon that when it evolves, you like turn your Switch
Yeah.
around and it does separate shit with the hair.
I heard that
Huh?
as well.
It's so stupid.
That sounds weird as shit. I just want to play Pokemon.
Yeah, no, we
I haven't bought the new one yet.
one of my birthday
Sword.
gifts that I asked for
Oh.
was a Nintendo Switch, and I'm probably gonna get some bunch of games for them. So I want Pokemon, I want Mario Maker, I want.
Sorry, I have to ask. I have to ask this now though, because people have mentioned Pokemon and we've mentioned Rick and Morty. Has anyone here played Pocket Mortys?
Mm-hmm. I have.
I didn't know it was a thing, but it makes
It
sense.
is. It's actually very good. I like it.
It's a mobile game where you, as one of the Rick Sanchez's, goes around fighting other Ricks, trying to collect all the Mortys.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Pocket Morty.
It's
Yes.
totally not a Pokemon ripoff.
It's totally not a Pokemon ripoff.
Oh, yeah.
No, of course.
It says in every way possible.
Yeah.
Casey,
It's brilliant though.
power shifts and armor and shit like that. Where do I put that on my sheet? There's no
Power
armor
shift?
section.
There is an armor section.
There is. I just said something before I actually looked.
Yeah, there is an armor section. It's the equipment section and the big circle that says armor.
Okay, so I just put my combined armor in there. But shouldn't I
Yes.
add up so I know which, like, where I got all my bonuses from, so I don't...
Yep, list those under your equipment. Or under your special abilities, whichever they are.
Okay.
You see how that works? You put things where they go, and then you put the sum total where it goes. I mean, you know.
So equipment in general, Casey. I mean,
Mhm.
you know, I bought a ton just to make sure that I had everything. Now all of it is in my backpack that I carry around anyhow, and it's not huge amount of. It's like a headset is, yeah, as you like earpieces, speaks, etc. So I made it so that actually it's something that you can carry in a backpack, so it's not too much. But I'm still wondering, it's like, are everybody gonna go through the same, or how are we gonna do that?
I'm not going to worry that much about equipment.
Yeah.
Unless people are wanting extremely expensive things that they can't explain why their character would have them.
So I have extremely expensive things.
An
but I-
iPhone
Yes,
11.
you do, and that makes sense with your character.
Oh.
What I'm saying is, if you're a working class stiff and you've got,
Yeah.
5 billion in gold bullion sat in your apartment, that's something I will question.
It's something I found on Craigslist.
Well,
That's a hell of a Craigslist, dude.
Oh yeah, he was a sucker. I think he was high.
no, I
And-
mean,
so
so I
Giving
so,
away chests full of doubloons. Like, what?
yeah,
it's
sure.
like you guys will
yeah.
discover this in game, but I have splurged, and I mean I have splurged. I have spent money, and serious money as well. Well, I based my character on a kid that exists that's actually from the real world that has 3 billion in his bank account. So it is based. Huh? What did you say?
Did you base your kid off Ryan's toy reviews?
No, thinking he's basing it on himself.
No, no. I wish it's probably
He's
where
basing the character on an actually successful version of what he would like to dream he is.
yeah, pretty much. Well,
Oh.
well,
Is this
Wow.
parallel universe stuff?
I don't know. Inheritance, Casey, much?
Oh well,
yeah.
yeah. Let's not bring that up. Yeah.
No, let's go to the winning the genetic lottery, as they say.
Okay. Armor, then equipment.
No, one thing that I will point out is on page 292, the same page where we got the power shifts, there's a section about superheroes and equipment. And it says in there specifically, most superheroes don't worry about equipment like backpacks and flashlights. If characters have devices they use regularly as weapons, or that are the source of their powers, such as advanced suits of armor or utility belts filled with gimmicks, these are normally represented by abilities as if they were inherent powers. Thus, a gadget-using hero might be an adept who has various devices that grant them abilities. To give them more options, they might have the Master Spells focus, and each different spell is represented as a gadget. Armored hero might be a strong warrior with the magic flavor and the Abiding Stone focus. So basically, what it is saying here is that rather than trying to deal with the minutiae of I've got this piece of equipment and this piece of equipment and this piece of equipment, for the most part, unless it's something extremely expensive, you have things that make sense, and you can theme things however you want to.
So just have a skill that says money.
Kim actually does have a skill called money.
I do. I'm
Oh,
not
he really
joking.
does. He took the wealthy descriptor, and he has there. Money is no object. That is actually
Beautiful
one
money.
of his abilities.
I have money. It's literally my character has spending money, which is a ridiculous high amount.
So
Basically, anything that falls into the inexpensive category, he can just have as much of it as he wants because it's just, a thing.
so do I get that for free since I'm his older sister then?
You didn't take the wealthy descriptor, so you don't have as much free access to it as he does, obviously.
I think that means that you piss someone
Yours is a
off, so you
bit more
don't have
tied
access.
up in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think you have access to a trust fund.
He's the spoiled brat who is charmed.
It would more
his
represent
parents.
the fact that you have money, but it's more tied up in investments, and it's not necessarily liquid cash that you have. Whereas he's actually gotten a lot of his money and actually liquidized it.
He's going full Mayweather. He just walks around with a duffel bag full of $1 million.
Yeah.
I have a 401k that I hope that I will get to have access to in about 4 years. So that's cool.
Yeah. But the other thing that I'm pointing out there is, don't hesitate to ask me about retheming things.
I mean, I've done it twice.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm not even talking about that. But I mean, if you have a power that says you get an energy blast, okay, is that a fire blast? Is that a laser eyes? Is that a sonic scream? Is that... It doesn't really matter. It's still going to be, for example, a might-based ranged attack that deals 6 damage. But make it theme however it works for your power set.
Mm-hmm.
Feel free to play with the aesthetics of your abilities. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Will we be able to increase our power shifts when we level up?
I asked that question as well.
And the answer I gave was...
Yes.
I didn't listen.
Everything can be increased, but it costs XP to increase. So it's
I'm
4
sorry,
XP.
what did you say?
Yeah, I think it was
Yes.
4 XP for one power shift, I think, Casey.
I didn't actually give a number.
Okay. But it's
Although
under the
most
optional rule, isn't it?
Yeah, it would take the place of one of your optional tier advancements.
Okay, I think I've actually finally gotten to equipment. But do I only have like 2 skills? Like
Yeah,
how many
I-
skills do you guys have?
I had to sacrifice the ability to wear a Cypher to get my skills. So yeah, it
I
was.
have
Yeah.
3.
Okay.
Yeah, you
cool.
you don't necessarily get that many skills.
It's
Uh,
bloody
okay.
rare to get.
Okay,
I have
I was
6
just
Yeah,
checking.
generally all of the descriptors only get 2 skills. Like I only have 2 skills, and
Cool.
though my thing was I got a +4 in intellect, so I have a bunch of inabilities. But
Are
you
all
know.
of you smart fuckers besides me? What the fuck is this?
Just like real life.
Thank you.
I made my character smart before I knew you guys were smart. Fuck's sake.
No, I'm not making my character out to be like super smart or anything, but that's
She's
sort
a
of her.
speaker. She's
Yeah.
not. She's not super smart, but she is amazing at what she
Guys,
does.
I can
The
already
other-
see how this all of this happened. All of you were like brainiacs and went, guys, I think we need someone who just stands in front of the bullets. That guy over there is a moron.
So
Let's
I wrote
take
the
him.
concept. I wrote the concept of my guys being a brainiac already, almost before the game was even started.
The
Just
other
saying.
thing to bear in mind, the other thing to bear in mind is that having a large pool in something does not, if you have a large intellect pool, for example, does not necessarily mean that your character is a genius.
Mm.
Because what it could actually represent is that you have a lot of small amounts of knowledges in different areas.
Can't it always also mean that you have a lot of resilience? So
Mental
What
fortitude.
that pool represents is that is the options that you have to pull from.
yeah,
You could be a very intelligent person, but you are book smart, and you don't have a lot of common sense.
like my
That could be
guy.
represented as a very intelligent person who still has a small pool.
Yeah.
Because when you are taken out of that comfort zone, you don't react as well.
Mm.
By the same token, you could be a kind of average Joe, common, everyday person with a massive intellect pool because you know a little bit about everything. You're not necessarily a genius in any one thing, but you can react well in a lot of different situations.
Jack of all trades, master of none. I believe is the
Yeah.
first.
Yeah.
Or you're an alien.
Or you're an alien.
Casey, could
Mhm.
you talk to me a bit about weapon difference? Like, why would not everyone wield a heavy weapon because it does more damage, for example?
Because not everyone is proficient in heavy weapons.
Let's say they are. Like, is there another like reason why? Because I'm a warrior and I'm proficient in light, medium, heavy. Is there a reason for me not to just use heavy, or should I use light because it has other benefits, like more
The
punches?
the only benefit that a light weapon has is that it reduces the difficulty to hit.
That's nice, because with the no need for weapons, my light weapons count as medium weapons.
But it would probably also be easier to, like, if you want to hide a weapon, if it was.
Yeah, but
Light.
punch my fist.
Which makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how it should be anyhow in my world.
Okay.
Or the way I view
Yeah.
it.
So if I were to pick 2 weapons, because that's my starting, do I choose fists?
No, these would be 2 physical weapons that you own,
Okay.
in
Because
addition to your fists.
it's not like there's no list of weapons here or something though,
Nope, weapons are either heavy, medium, or light.
and I can make it up.
Do you want a pistol? Do you want a nightstick? Do you
Yeah,
want...
I just made up a Walter PX 199 pistol.
There you go.
That's a very good imagination, man.
Yeah,
How did
Is
you
that a
come
light?
up
Is
with
that a light pistol or a heavy pistol?
it's a light pistol.
A light pistol. There you go.
I
Dog,
think I
he
should
kinda
probably
walks
have a
around-
lightsaber.
Sorry, what was that?
I think I should totally be able to get a lightsaber. Just saying.
If she gets a lightsaber, I'm gonna have words with Casey.
But it's a lightsaber that only has light. It's no plasma or anything.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
And we're,
you have a
we're like,
flashlight.
guys, that's a flashlight. And like, yeah, fear my
Glow
weapon.
stick.
Yeah.
And you call it like, it's my photon emitter. And everyone's like, no, she's charging her photon emitter. And you go, flashlight. Like, wait. And you go,
I'm gonna use your photon
and
emitter for
this is-
fishing.
everyone
and
on
this is
planet XPY die from this. You guys don't, apparently. That's weird.
yeah. This is when you realize that her race is photosensitive,
Yeah.
and it is a deadly weapon against her own kind, but not against anyone who's not photosensitive.
Oof.
Or she read
Ooh.
like in her dossier
That's so
that
good.
we were sensitive to UV radiation, or
Mhm.
yeah. So she like flashlight. This is the sun. Fear me. And we're like, no, we do that for fun. Like what?
Yeah.
Damage your skin for fun? What the fuck?
Yep.
This
Yeah, because
super
it's all
hardcore
bitch.
race that just goes to the beach and give me skin cancer.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
like
basically.
Someone not
Um,
saying that from another planet. Like, hang on. So you're drinking toxins? Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
yes.
The only objection I have to you having a lightsaber is that in our initial discussions about your race, we were looking at them as very dark elf-like.
Yeah.
So a weapon
the
of
lightsaber
light.
thing was a joke.
Casey,
I was
know
actually
you live with
trying
me.
Can I have a
justify
dark
it.
saber then? Can I have
you're a couple of hours drive away.
See, I'm actually trying to find a way to justify it just because it will piss off Kim.
No, just no.
If she gets a lightsaber, I want a dark saber.
But no, if he'd be a shadow saber because the opposite of light is shadow.
Yeah.
You know, might as well hand out everything here. Take some EMPs, take a black hole, take a, you know.
You only get a dork saber.
Kim, you say things like that, but in the actual book,
I
one of
know.
the normal items on the chart is a black hole grenade.
And I remember they also that a couple of the items that the group got as one of the first few ciphers they got was ridiculous.
Yeah, black hole grenades and things. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like, oh, you throw this at someone, they literally just are removed from existence.
Yeah, it's
Kind
like
of
the
thing.
bag of holding in a bag of holding thing.
Yeah, it's really, 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 really bad. Some of the items they had. They're like, you saw the character. This is where I thought they were role playing exceptionally. Because I opened the case and they like looked at this weapon. They're like, oh, this looks cool. Takes it up, and then she's told what it is. So it's like you can see she just turns her hand carefully,
Back in the
hands it up,
case.
back in the case. This is what is for later.
Yeah. Okay,
Uh,
so does anyone have any questions on where we are?
Can you have a look at my sheet to see if I've done everything correctly?
No, it's all wrong.
All right.
Actually, I haven't even opened the sheet yet. So
Is it fucky for me to wear heavy armor if I know that I'm not gonna use speed-based actions? Like, is it? Like,
didn't you take the ability to wear no armor?
Yeah. Oh shit, you're right.
So that would kind of counteract wearing armor.
Yeah, but okay. Train without armor. You're trained in defense task wearing not wearing armor. Shit. So no armor at all. Okay.
No.
Yeah.
Okay. Shit. Okay. Never mind then. I'm not wearing any armor.
You went with the monk barbarian route,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
and then
that's
you
true.
asked if you should put on some armor.
No, I was more thinking like it's more like this like spandex suit is light armor or something like that. No, never mind.
Yeah. Never mind.
Body modifications, Casey. We haven't discussed it.
Mhm.
If you can have a
So-
dick, you can have a dick. It's fine.
No, I'm talking about implants and things like that. I know they're used.
You can have
mainly
two
for-
dicks also. It's the future.
So they're mainly for recreational purposes. They're not really that
Quit dicking around.
yet. Even with the technology we have available, even though we can create it, doesn't mean that it lasts forever or works as well as intended. So my question to you is things like half an eye or a bionic eye or something, things like that. Is that something you would allow from early on, or is that just nah?
One of the things to pay attention to in this world is that medical, like bionic prosthetics,
Mhm.
do exist. They are fairly common, but they do not supply, in a general fashion, any abilities above and beyond what a normal person had. So if you want to say you have a bionic eye, you can certainly have a bionic eye, but a standard bionic eye as a medical replacement would not give you any additional vision.
So the reason I'm asking for this is because the way it was represented in Callisto 6 is that the richer
Mhm.
you are, the more the more fun you had almost replacing to a point.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
If you want to have decorative prosthetics, then
Yeah.
yes, you could certainly say that you do. What I'm saying is that having
You can go
a
like
having a metal arm, for example, you can certainly have a metal arm that'll look like the Winter Soldier's arm, but
Mm.
it's not going to give you any additional strength.
yeah, you can't
It's
go like full
it's
Ghost in the
purely a
Shell.
flavor piece.
Yeah, you need a skill or special ability. You can just say, I have unlimited money, and so I have +4 to
Now, if
punching.
you took the foci, for example, fuses body and fuses metal and body or whatever it is, then that's when you would be able to get prosthetics, metal prosthetics that actually give superpowers, for example, super strength, etc.
Yeah, and it's one of the routes I'm still thinking about. But yeah, it's the general consensus is that if we wanted to replace something, because I am thinking about doing a minor replacement just because it fits the world.
Yeah.
More than anything, and the fact that me and my sister are ludicrously rich at this point in time, anyhow.
Yeah.
I like the
You
idea
can
of
most certainly do so.
I like the idea of her just making fun of your nose and just replace it with like a metal nose, and you go, "Fuck you, bitch! I have a
Yeah.
metal nose. It's fucking shiny and shit. It's the best nose
So,
ever. You can't make fun of me now."
Yeah, so as you guys probably seen, some of my parts of my character is all about manipulation and mind control and all of these things and talking people into doing things, which is something he's done since he was little, which is
So
like natural for him. The only person that's beaten him in conversation is his sister, and I wrote that into my backstory
So the
because she doesn't take any bullshit from him. It's like, nope, that's bullshit. You're wrong.
I like it.
Mhm.
I have one last thing that I don't know what to do with. With starting equipment, +1 expensive item, 2 moderately priced items, up to 4 inexpensive items.
So what is an expensive item?
Yeah, and what's an moderate priced and what's an inexpensive?
Well,
Like-
what would you, Madman, consider to be an expensive item? Is a computer an expensive item?
I would say a car is an expensive item.
A car would definitely qualify, yeah. A car would qualify. A very high-end computer would qualify.
Apartments.
Whereas a kind of average computer might be a inexpensive item.
A
What
worn
I'm saying
down
is
rusty car.
this-
could be-
Yeah, this game does not necessarily quantify everything. It allows you that freedom to say, I've got a computer, but it's not a very good computer, so that goes into this category. Or I've got a computer that's a really nice computer that goes into this category. What do you want to have, and then how good can it be based on the categories that you've got available?
Can it be Cypher connected? No, I don't want to Cypher. No.
No, you can't buy ciphers as starting equipment.
Okay. Can my items have statistical like advantages? Like, can it give me give me asset to something? Like, can I have, if I were to have, I don't know, chalk gloves, would it give me extra to punching, for example?
I don't know if I would say that one specifically would work, but things can certainly be assets. Yes.
Okay, so rocket boots could help jumping. I'm not gonna start off with that because
Rocket boots would probably actually, based on the setting, be more of a Cypher. But
okay, cool.
basically, yes. You could have, for example, spring-loaded boots, which would be a little bit less intense than rocket boots, but they would give you an asset of 1 to jumping.
Okay, I will think of something and get back to you.
On the contrary, I guess rocket boots is sort of something I was like writing in my sheet, but they only work in space, so they're like useless items that are like.
So you're looking more along the lines of like grav boots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
impulse
basically.
speed boots, and you're like, what's this? Ah, shit, we're not in a vacuum. Well.
They still look pretty nice.
And we're like, okay, I guess it's gonna be cool when we're in a vacuum, which will never be. I'm not gonna go out there. It's fucking crazy. I'm down here, but you do you.
I'm picturing you like getting ready for a super jump. And you're like, get up! And really
Fucking-
anticlimactic, like whoop.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, like fucking air
Yeah.
all around us. Gravity, shit. Fuck that.
Per, I've been looking over your sheet and it looks good.
All right.
Can you look at mine too? I think I've added everything besides equipment.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Also, I guess assuming as we're on the topic of equipment,
Oh, okay. Weapons also. I haven't added weapons because so far I've only thought about like punching people. So I haven't thought further than that.
Brass
But
knuckles.
seems that we were on the topic of like
Oh,
equipment.
I think
so-
that's like when shit gets serious, he takes out his brass knuckles with like, like 1, freedom and justice.
Are you just playing like fucking like the personification of like a fucking like
Have you not
what is it,
seen
like an
his character
American
yet?
like
Haven't you seen my character? Hang on. Hang
yeah
on.
I
Hold
saw
on.
Your alter ego is Colonel America or something.
No. His
Hold on.
name's- Okay.
There you go.
Johnny Law.
Johnny Law.
That's great.
God.
Guys, he's a classic. Alright?
How
No
much
edge
extra damage did
here.
I say that power shift strength gave? Was it 3 per?
Hang on, I wrote it down. Strength power shift, 3 additional damage per power shift.
Alright, so it's an extra +6.
Yeah. No, it's a medium punch because he has no need for weapons, which makes unarmed attacks medium weapons.
Okay. Why did it put -1?
Because it's -1 difficulty because I'm trained. Or it's
Right, yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, I was reading it
a light
backwards.
button, yeah. It's easier for me to punch people. Da, 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 da.
No, because it went the wrong way.
No?
Difficulty 3, -1, and it went to 4.
Oh, that's not good.
So, just for like reference, what are your character's stats? Now, mine's 11, might 11, speed 11, intellect 14.
Might 18, speed
Oh, shit.
10, intellect 8.
All right,
Might 9, speed 10, int 17.
all right.
Yeah.
I'm sort of going for like a middle of the road approach because I have no idea what my powers are going to be.
That's true. That's true. You don't know.
So,
Kim,
It's a good
yours.
call.
yeah.
So my character is 8, 12, 14.
Ah,
I'm very int based.
Eco?
All right.
Or is that?
Yeah, so there you go, Madman. I've got your punch set up for you.
Ah, thank you. Yeah, because 4 because medium, and +6 because the power shift. Isn't that a ridiculous amount of damage, though?
Super punching is a ridiculous amount of damage, yes.
Okay. And
Yes.
my power, I can charge that, so it becomes 14.
10 damage, yeah, that's...
Yep. Ask Kim if he's paying any attention, or ask Kiki about Cass's punching.
About what? Cass is
Yeah.
punching.
Cass's
Yeah.
punching.
What
In
is
Callisto
Cass's
6.
punching? How much damage does it do?
Oh, it does a shit ton of damage.
How much? How much? Tell me.
Like, the last time I remember, it was like 12, maybe? I
I
haven't...
think she got it up to 14 at one point.
14, Jesus. It does a
Yeah.
lot.
So
I'm working my way
Cass
there.
is brilliant. It's a well balanced, good.
I love
made.
Amy Dallin anyway. She's amazing.
Yeah. It's just that it's fun to see that the way they've made the characters, because she's like a type of champion. It's like, let me hit you, and then she's like, oh, she doesn't realize her own strength, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it's just fun to watch.
It's a great series all around. I love them as players.
Yeah, I'm still at episode 2. I haven't gotten further yet. I'm working on it.
I'm on episode 2 of season 2 of my rewatch.
That's high praise.
Well, I watched it the first time, all the way through. It inspired me to want to run this game.
Mm-hmm.
And then whenever we decided we were actually running this game, I'm now watching it through again, taking extra notes on the setting and world for this game.
That's true.
All right, so does anyone have any more questions for character creation?
Sorry,
Having to look over everyone's sheets, just checking things through. So I will get to that for everyone.
Oh,
I'm so excited for this. I've
Same.
wanted to play Cypher System since I watched Callisto 6.
I'll be honest. My first exposure to the Cypher System was Callisto 6.
Oh yeah,
I had
same here.
I had not even seen the system before that, and I was watching a different show on Geek and Sundry, and I saw the advert for Callisto 6 Season 2. And I thought, what the heck is this? Looked it up, went back, started watching Season 1, watched all of Season 1 in one weekend, and then jumped into Season 2. So,
is the modifier supposed to be 1 in a punch? Is it supposed to be -1?
no, whenever I actually started looking at it, if you put in 1, that means that it modifies it, it reduces it by 1.
Okay, so otherwise it becomes minus and plus.
Correct, yeah.
Uh-huh.
That's where I went wrong the first time.
Okay.
That's when, and then I fixed it.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Casey, I have an idea for my expensive item.
Go for it.
I mean, I'm gonna message it to you though,
Okay.
because it's a
Mr.
build.
Secretive.
I mean, it's secret.
Yeah. Sex toys are very expensive, yes.
Hey, the Flubberbuster Mega Master 3000 is
What
like
you call it?
four of them
Flubberbuster?
are the 4 of them were ever made, and it's gas driven. It's like it's for real. You gotta
What
like
did you
wind it
click
up.
there, madman?
Onslaught. I didn't do that.
Oh, I'm just testing shit out.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I was looking up a bit, and your medium punch there did not come out right, madman. Then your second one did. Never mind. I see.
Okay. Shit. Okay. Yeah. Oh, but we don't need to wait for me. I can
A roll
write
of
this out
0.
later.
That was impressive. A roll of 0 beats difficulty 0.
How the hell did I get a full
Yeah.
0?
You can't get more negative than nothing.
Hang on. If I were to punch someone, let's go through this. What's my bonus?
You don't have a bonus.
Okay. Difficulty. Let's say difficulty is 8.
Okay.
Heroic. Okay. Effort of roll. What's that?
So that is, are you going to spend effort out of your might pool?
Okay. Let's say I don't.
Okay.
Then it's
Then
a
that's going
0.
to be a 0.
Asset. I don't have an asset in this.
Nope.
Let's say. Cost. What's that?
That's, are you using an ability like Bash that has a cost?
Okay. Then I should not, because if I put 1 there, it's gonna be a -1 on my thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. 0 and effort to damage. I can do that too. It's like 2 separate, or it's
Well, you can either spend effort to attack or effort to damage, not both.
okay. So I'll just continue and then failure. Roll 7. Damn it.
So it was a difficulty 8. You reduced it down to a difficulty 6, and then did not roll an 18 or better.
I only reduced it by 2.
You've not got your power shift included in that, do you? That's
No,
what
I don't.
The power shifts would shift it down a lot.
You've got a power shift 2 in strength.
Yes.
So that's actually going to be a mod of 3 in total.
Okay.
There you go. I've adjusted that.
Okay. So let's
Try it once more now.
so 10. Then skill. Do I involve my skill in this? Do I have a skill? There's no skill in punching, I guess. I mean, you know what I mean.
You're considered trained in this because of your warrior training. And I have put that on there.
Yeah, okay. Bonus no. Oh shit, hang on. Bonus no. Difficulty, let's take 8 again. Effort no. Asset no. Cost no. And then... Well, if I roll a 4, it doesn't really help. So 8 became a 4.
I'll tell you this.
So, yeah.
Bearing in mind that a difficulty 8 is 2 steps off of impossible, that's the kind of roll that you would want to spend effort on.
Okay. That's true. What would an 8, what would that kind of physical thing would that be?
I mean, an 8.
I mean, that's a bit heavy, so we're talking like what? Probably
That
like
could
an
be
8
like
vehicle.
that could be like a powered supervillain.
Okay. Cool.
I mean, let's just see.
Yeah, okay. Of course, it doesn't help that I rolled like a 7 and then a 4.
Yeah, that does.
Yeah, okay. So that's fair. That's fair. Yeah.
Tossing
Bad
a
rolls
baseball
doesn't.
through a concrete wall or something.
Yeah. Oh yeah, at some point, Johnny Law is gonna be asked to throw a baseball at the starting pitch of a baseball game, and he's gonna kill. No.
That's very specific.
I mean, worst things have happened in our games.
No, I'm thinking more of like he's has the catcher thing, and because you're supposed to catch it here, it just bursts a hole through it. And go,
Yeah. I mean, here I'm just going to, as an example, I'm actually going to show you one of the villains that I've put together. So that should now be visible to you on the main screen, isn't it?
yes.
Yep.
So Rocky is a difficulty 5, meaning a target number of 15.
Mm-hmm.
That means to hit him, you have to beat a difficulty 5.
Mm.
He has 30 health. He deals 6 points of damage when he attacks. He has 3 armor. That's an example of a starter supervillain.
Cool.
So that means that to dodge his attacks, then it's going to be a might defense versus a difficulty 5. Make sense?
Yes.
I think I want to do some changes to my power shifts.
Okay. That's part of the reason I wanted to have this session 0 before we started, is to let everybody kind of get together, talk about things, and then you've got a week to think about any changes you want to make to hone things before we start.
Yeah. I have a power shift for my things such as jumping, but I can't really put that into my jumping skill. What do I do?
You should be able to put it into your jumping skill.
I think what you have to do there is put it in the mod section.
There's no mod on the skills. It's like stat and level. Stat level description. So I don't know what to do.
You could put it in the bonus of 2.
Where? Huh? How?
Whenever you actually select to roll.
Oh, okay. So bonus.
Hold on, I'm just checking because no, that's not done right. I said that, but it's not actually worked.
I think the bonus applies to the adding or subtracting to the actual roll, not the
Yeah, that's
difficulty.
not it. That's not what we want.
So if I put -2, can I do that?
No, don't do that.
Oh, I can't. Yes, I can. I broke the game.
Good job.
Nice. Thank you very much. I'm somewhat of a hacker, some people call me.
Okay, what you're gonna want to do is just apply that power shift as 2 levels of effort.
Ah. Okay. So I'm jumping very high. I don't give a fuck about bonus. I put a difficulty of 5 because I'm jumping high as shit, but effort of 2 because I have an edge of 2. Power shift of 2, and asset I don't give a shit about, but it might as well be asset, right? Like numerically, it would be the same thing.
Well, yes.
Okay.
It doesn't actually matter technically, but
Nat 20.
And that's a major effect.
Awesome. What is jumping up on top of a 2-story building?
Let me have a quick look. I would say jumping from standing onto a 2-story building is going to be a formidable thing, which would be a 7.
Formidable. Okay,
if you have a look
7.
at that chart right there.
And then effort, and then let's say I put an extra 1 into it because I can only put 1 in it.
Correct.
As maximum. Yep. So that would make my roll 3. Asset none, and then Hey, I can jump buildings. I'm Superman.
All right.
Cool.
Well, if everyone's pretty happy with where we are, I
Hmm.
think I'm fairly happy with where we are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We might go ahead and wrap up a little bit early tonight. And we will plan on meeting this time next week to start session 1.
Not this time, I hope.
All right.
Well,
All right.
the time that we started tonight.
Yeah, not this time.
Smart ass.
Yeah, I know. I'm very smart. That's my.
Your ass is the only part of you that's smart.
Ooh. Thank you very much. And let's see what happened to what's his face.
Yeah, I'll continue trying to message him for a bit. And the other thing that I'm going to do is once I download the video of this, I'm going to attach onto the end of it what will be the opening credits for our games going forward. So that will be on YouTube probably tomorrow.
Awesome.
Cool.
Will
Alright.
you guys have cams next week, or what's the deal there?
Kiki's already left.
Ah,
Oh,
in that case, I'm just talking to you, Colin. Cal.
There you go. I've asked for you, madman.
Okay, cool. Well, I guess I won't bother you guys anymore.
All right, guys. Have a good week, and I will see you next Thursday.
Hey, it
See
was
you
fun.
later.
Thursday.